Okay. Peace and shalom, family. Peace and shalom. What's going on? It's your brother DivineProspect, Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. We're going to give a few minutes for people to come on in. Then it takes some time to get some things set up, but now looks like we are good to go. All right. So come on in. Let's greet each other. Meet and greet. Shalom, shalom. Leila Tov. To those of you out there, Shabbat Shalom. To others out there. All right, we're going to give a minute for people to come on in. Give it another minute. Okay. All right. All right. We got some stuff we're going to share with y'all on today, and then our usual Q&A, and then we'll open up and chat a little bit more. So come on in, family. As you're coming on in, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not inspired enough to do it now, then wait till midway through the show or towards the end. If you're enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button. For those of you who are brand new, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you share this video on all social media platforms so we can get the word out. All right. And we can also bump the video up in the YouTube listings or the YouTube feed via the algorithm. We want to ride that algorithm all the way till we get to the top. You know what I'm saying? And increase our visibility so more people can grab a hold of this information and be edified. All right. So, all right. So I'm looking at those who are coming on in. So I want to say shalom to Elkham Barlow. Shalom to Asid Brooks. Shalom to Dina Charles. Shalom to Ha Kodesh Management. Shalom to Truth Seeker. Shalom to Lisa Anderson. Shalom to Jetson Silentio. Shalom to you, sis, as well. Radiant One, thank you so much for that. We're doing good. Pray you and your daughter is as well. Shout out to Karen Gittins, Cheryl, Ha Kodesh Management. That's double honors. Shout out to Mark Benjamin, Brother Gitwise, John and Dorsey, Reckless Animosity. DB is Yah's Miracle Child. Shout out to Lifted Up in the building. All right, family. All right. So we'll give it a little bit more time. So for those of you, anybody who has set up an appointment and was not able to get a hold of me, we will follow up with you. A few inquiries and calls went through the cracks, but we'll follow up with you guys on next week and do our best to get back to you. If not, just give us a call back, reschedule, or text the number you see across the screen, 678-430-3832. Text that reminder there so we can make sure we reach out to you and get in touch with you. All right. Shout out to my brother Yeti, Hebrew Dre in the building. Wide awake. Shalom. I see you. All right. So again, family, as you're coming on in, make sure you share this video. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button. All right. We have several items that we'll be mailing out this upcoming week. Last Friday, we had 3 winners for the Yaz Manna tableware items for children. So those will be going out this upcoming week. We're going to place an order with my brother Jamal and have them ship it out. I know they was having some things coming up last week, but this upcoming week we should be able to get that out. All right. For Sister Radiant One that's in there was a back order on the Aero Garden item we was going to ship out to you. I think it's everything. The inventory is back to normal now, so we make sure we get that item up to you. So next week we're going to focus on fulfillment of any orders. There's also some T-shirts that we have to send out to several people. We're going to try our best to get them out to you. And again, if nothing has come to you yet, if it's owed from us to you, just shoot us a reminder, text, email, or give us a call and remind us. All right. We're human too. Some things slip behind the cracks. We have limited resources to do what we do. But things are getting better day by day. Right. And it gets better via your input and your support. All right. Shout out to Sister Santua in the building. Dawi Ben Yehuda. Shalom. My brother KB. What's going on? San Miguel TV. My brother KB. We have doing meetings next week with various groups. Your group is going to be one of them. And that's my brother that's going to be helping out with the merchandise fulfillment. All right. Because we got tons of items we want to give out, tons of items up for sale, and then new products that are coming on the way. We just need a merchandise coordinator, and my brother stepped up. So he's helping out with that. So I appreciate that. Sister Radiant One volunteered to assist me with some writing responsibilities. So I'm truly excited about that because I can get more and more material out there with assistance. So I appreciate that. Shout out to Shannon Bodie in the building. My brother Reckless Animosity. Shalom. He said good Clubhouse session last night. Yes. So I'll start off with that since it was already put on the table. So the Clubhouse session last night we had was a very good session. It was about an hour and 20 minutes. Fortunately, I recorded it, right? However, it will only be available on Patreon. Why? It's because the Patreon patrons that we have are fully invested in everything that we do with the ministry, right? Some things we put out, people don't really care about. They look over it, they gloss over it. But our Patreon, they're investing in the ministry. So anything we put out, they take it in, right? And we appreciate their support. So the Clubhouse thing used to be invite only. Now they've gotten rid of the invite only. Now it's open, right? You can invite anybody. Anybody can sign up for it. I think there's a queue now still because they're doing a staggering acceptance of various requests that went through and invites. So again, if you're not on Clubhouse, you need to get on. I see more and more you guys on Clubhouse every week, and it's great to see y'all. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for following me. I'll try my best to follow you back. If I did not follow you back, just let me know. Let me know, and I'll make sure I do that. But we have to start a brand new community, and what we're doing there is much different than all the other chatter and white noise that's going on over on that platform. It's a lot of chatter and white noise and little to no edification, man. It's the same old over and over again. People giving their opinions and what they think. And again, that's fine. The purpose of Clubhouse is to be like, jumping in casually into a conversation that's going on and listening. So sometimes that's how people express themselves. They're not thinking from the perspective of a teacher, I guess. So they're not thinking the edification of everybody else and being mindful of, people getting caught up in the mix because going back and forth is just not conducive for growth. I thought I was going to find interesting rooms where all types of teachings and stuff was going to be going on that just was like, wow. And I have yet to see them. That doesn't mean that nobody's on there teaching or share information. And the ones that do, salute to you that do. But for the most part, it's dry. You know what I'm saying? Because, I don't want to hear people's opinion and arguing, going back and forth. I want to be edified, and a lot of times it's difficult to kind of glean that from that platform. However, us at KHM, we are making a difference. Not just me. All I did was pioneer it. I opened the door for y'all. Now y'all coming in. I see y'all coming in, giving feedback, input, and making a difference. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be the catalyst for change no matter where we go. Whatever social media platform they open up, trust me, we will be there. You know what I'm saying? We will be there. We will make a difference. We'll make y'all's name known. We will edify our people, bring them into the truth, and do what we can to assist the community, as we're here to serve before anything else, right? You have to serve before you can lead effectively, right? And the best leaders are the ones who don't ask for it, but the ones who are called to do it and are chosen to do it, right? So all praise to the Most High. But that session was a powerful session, and it will be on Patreon. I'm going to try to get it up there this weekend, so that way we have it on Patreon. And future sessions, I'm trying to get my recording set up so that way I can play it from the phone and also record it effectively. I think I have a setup in mind that I'm going to kind of test maybe over the weekend when I do a pop-up session again. But I'm going to get it tight for y'all, so that way, when you guys go on a Patreon and you check out the Clubhouse sessions, the audio quality is pristine and crisp. Okay. Well, thank you so much, sis. I appreciate that. She said, you're the only one who is actually teaching on Clubhouse. Praise the Most High for your gifts, talents, intelligence, humility. Thank you, sis. I appreciate that. Shout out to my brother Black App in the building. Shout out to Sister the Souls of our ancestors. Shalom. Big Bro 581 O'Shea White. Shalom. Shalom. You Teller 777. Shalom. Shalom. All right. Aishu Cole, my brother Desmond is in the building. What's going on? Saint Lou, the kids. Shalom. Angie, love ya. See you. Shalom. Stephanie, Yosef. Shalom. Shalom. Let me see. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody. All right. Hit 1 if the audio and video is on point. Hit 1 if the audio and video is on point. Hit 2 if you have an audio, video, visual issues. Hit 2. Let me know if everything looks good. Hit 1. It sounds good. Hit 1 if everything does not look good or sound good. Hit 2 and hit 3 if you want a shout out. 1 if the audio and video is good. 2 if the audio video is bad, and 3 if you want a shout out. All right, just let me know. All right, shout out to Sister Manika Williams. Shalom. Stephanie Joseph said, what happened to the Mormons? Mormons still did not come back. I reached out back to them. I think it was Wednesday, and I didn't hear nothing back from them. So I don't know. I have no clue. They did ask me for my government name, but I didn't give them my full government name. So maybe they found out about me somehow. I don't know. I made a request for a Black Mormon to come to my house. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're short on Black Mormons in the area, so maybe that's why nobody showed up. I don't know. I'll try again next week and see, because if I don't hear back from them, then I'm just going to switch back over to the Jehovah's Witness and try to get some of them over. You know what I'm saying? But somebody's going to come through, and somebody's going to learn. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be humble, shut my mouth, give them an opportunity to kind of persuade me. You know what I'm saying? Based on whatever doctrine, dogma, perspective that they have. And then I'm going to respond appropriately, teaching them from their own material. That's the goal. Teach them from their own material. And then once we teach them from their own material, then we can show them the error in that and get them into the truth. All right. And hopefully looking for our, he said, Black Mormons are on back order. That's what it says. That's what it looks like. I know for Jehovah's Witnesses, there's never no shortage of Black Jehovah's Witnesses. But with Mormons, yeah, there's a back order of them. So they had to put that order out there and they had to wait. They probably got to outsource one from the south side of town where most of our people are at, bring them over to where I'm at, you know what I'm saying? So they got to ship a Mormon over here, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking for a very edifying discussion. Shout out to Chris Bronson in the building. Shalom. Devian Baker. Shalom. Let me see. Bernie Sat. Shalom. I see you. My brother Donnell Jones. Shalom. The Isha Natural Beginnings in the building. Shalom. Let me see. Who else is there? Oh, Boom Shakalaka is back. Boom Shakalaka is here every Friday. Every Friday, Boom Shakalaka is here. Why? Why are you here, Boom Shakalaka? Every Friday? Interesting. Shout out to DN Denaj. Shalom. You're going to get who into the truth. All right. So, Boom Shakalaka, I'm not going to do it with you this Friday. All right. I'm going to focus on the show. You can say what you want in the chat. Just don't be disrespectful. As long as you're not disrespectful, you won't get booted out. But you can say whatever you want to say. That's fine. But again, you hear, laws of gardening. All right. So, laws of gardening claim that we blocked him or her. I don't know if that's a him or her. They claim we blocked them. Okay. So, I'm going to say for laws of gardening, are you listening to me right now? Okay. I want to have a discussion with you. I just want to make sure you are familiar with that. I want to have a discussion with you tonight. So once I get past the pieces or the itinerary for the program, I will get to you. Okay. I would love to have a discussion with you. I hope you're prepared for it, but I would love to have a discussion with you. So it's on record and I'm putting it on notice. None of my mods blocked them because they claimed it was blocked, which is a lie because nobody blocked them. If so, they wouldn't be here right now because I didn't make no venture to seek them out, see if they was blocked or unblocked. I didn't do any of that. I did not block them because I received comments on my channel from them. Therefore, they're not blocked on my channel. So they claim that I blocked them, and that's why I didn't have a dialogue with them, which is simply untrue because I called them out last Friday. So just sit tight. Give us about an hour or so. Let's work up into the climax, and then we will open up the floor, and you can come on and have a dialogue. Last couple of times you were here to after almost 1, 2 in the morning. So now I'm sure that you have the patience and you have the discipline to sit there, sit tight, right? Be entertained. And then when it's your time, we can have our discussion. All right. Don't go nowhere. It's on record. Do not go nowhere because I don't run from anybody. Everybody's open for edification, even myself. All right. With that being said, you think that's, it might be a female too. I don't know. It might be. We'll see. Let's see. Lifted says, Brother Divine, do you have any videos on the matter of Old Covenant and New Covenant? And what's your stance? If you don't mind answering. Yes, Lifted, I have several videos. My mods that's out there. Mods, please drop the video. Capital punishment, human sacrifice for the atonement of sin in the Bible. Yes. So please put that one out there if you don't mind. Also, the video called All Sins Created Equal or All Sins Created Equal. So mods, put both of those videos in the chat because in those videos, I go into that. And I did these videos in, I think, 2017. It was a long time ago, these videos, and I still stand by everything that I did in that content, in those videos. All right. Look at this. I want one in private, man to man. What you mean? I don't have time to have a discussion contending with you, man to man. You want to speak? It's here. You came into the public space. You called me out. You said things. So we settle it in the public space first. Then we talk behind closed doors. That's how it works. All right. I would advise you going forward in the future, please do not put your phone number in the chat because you may have people call it and talk crazy. Please don't put your number in the chat. All right. So again, my brother, you brought it to the public. So we will talk in the public first. If you do not want to talk in the public and you just want to troll in the chat, you will be put on timeout. And if you continue to troll in the chat, then you will be blocked. However, when there's a link in the chat, you can still click on it, even if you're blocked, to come on his panel and have a discussion. I don't like people that say, oh, I want to take it private, but they made things public. It does not work that way. If you wanted things to stay private, you would reach out to me private. My email address is there. The phone number is there. There's different ways you can reach out to me in private. You put everything in public. So therefore, it's a public discussion. And see, this is the thing. That's the cop out. Now, all of a sudden, they see that they got my attention and I'm committed to having a discussion with them live in front of everybody. And then they say, no, I want to do this in private. No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Don't work that way. Thank you, Maj, for putting the links in the chat. I appreciate it. Shout out to Steve Wilson in the building. Sam Miguel, TV, Shalom. Do you believe in the flat earth model or spherical model? Excellent question. I don't subscribe to a flat earth model from today's perspective. However, the ancient worldview of how the world was shaped was a dome-shaped model, right? It was a circular flat earth, if you want to call it that, with a dome that covers it, right? That's how they looked at it. Even if you go to Better Sheet chapter 1, where it talks about the firmament in the heavens, that is something that is hammered out or fixed into a particular position in almost of a dome type structure. All right. So that's the worldview of them back then. And I understand that worldview. So when I dive into the text, I understand the text based on their perspective. However, when looking in contemporary times, I have a different perspective and I try to find a way to harmonize the two, because you can do that. That's the objective, to holistically harmonize the two. Shout out to my brother Elephant Man Podcast in the building. My brother, Do It for the Nation. Shalom. What's going on, young king? All right. Yeledya, Yahuda, Yisrael, Shalom. That people could come straight to Christ. Why not divine? People can come straight to me. Well, that's you. You're not me. All right. The way you operate is different. You can speak to me privately. The number's on the screen. You can still call. You can still set up an appointment, and you can be in the queue like everybody else. Everybody else, they get in the queue. You're not going to jump the queue. You're not special more than anybody else who has called and did their due diligence to call Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to schedule an appointment to speak to Brother Divine. So I'm not skipping you past nobody. You can get in the queue and wait your turn like everybody else. If you want to speak right now, like you push so hard to, you have the opportunity when we get towards the end of the broadcast. All right? So sit tight. Shout out to Sister E in the building. Shalom, Sister E. What's going on? Oh, you was in Haiti, my brother? Yes. And I seen some of the images you had on Instagram out in Haiti, my brother. You know what I'm saying? You always doing the work wherever you at. This brother is 19, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the truth, he's an artist and everything, going out there, putting in work for his people, man. Those are the type of people I'd rather take my time and invest in, not these old, washed up people who want to come on here and be self-righteous and judgmental and ain't doing nothing for our people. I ain't got time for people like that unless it's here on my show. If you call me, don't waste my time, because it'll be a very short call. And all my calls that come in are screened. So therefore, we record all our calls. So we have technology to capture your voice and any kind of fluctuation in your voice. If you try to make up a voice or whatever, we know who you are. You will be blocked. You cannot call me again. So what I simply say is conduct yourself like an adult, not a 16-year-old, high school, struggling with puberty, pimples on your face, can't control your hormones, and simply got to react to everything. Hold your horses. It's okay. We adults here, right? We can do that. Shout out to my brother Scott Garrett Headley in the building. Shalom. I am Sister Hadasha. Shalom. I see you. All right. So let's get it in, family. Let's get it in. Truth Seeker said, did R1 haplogroup originate in Africa or Eurasia? R1 originated in the area of what we call Georgia, which is in Asia, and then made its way from there into Europe and became the dominant strain. Right now, R1b is the dominant haplogroup in Asia. R1a is another haplogroup in Asia, right? So R1 is the parent, A and B is the subclades. So those branched out after successive, I would say, evolution of those people in those area with further mutations based on migrations, diet, environmental factors, stresses, etc. Over thousands of years, right? So R1 came from the region of what we call Georgia, and that region of Asia, and then migrated from there over into what we call Europe, all right? And then some of those strains made their way into what we call the Levantine region, all right? And a few of those strains went out towards the east, all right? So that's my position on that, all right? All right. So he says, I guess you not like Christ. See people, a false prophet, wolf in sheep's clothing. Great. Thank you for your opinion. I'm just happy that it's not a fact, but you're welcome to your opinion. No problem. All right. You see what that does? This is what I do to stuff like that. I go like this. See that? It's a little dirt on your shoulder. You just got to brush the dirt off your shoulder. That's it. And invest time with the youth. Y'all can sit over there. Listen, you have an opportunity. I'm going to put the link out at some point on the show. You got the opportunity to jump in and have a dialogue. But instead of wasting time with you, I'd rather build with the youth. All right? You're wasting people's time. Just coming here to say this at this time every night. Who's on YouTube midnight coming in the chat trolling? Who does that consistently? People that don't have a life, or people that are obsessed with me or obsessed with what we teach here. There's some kind of obsession there, because whatever you're attempting to do is not successful. So why are you still here? Why are you still here? And you see how generous I am? I haven't blocked you. I allowed you to come here. But then, people come and they change up their accounts and stuff, and we just keep blocking you. It's no problem. All right, let's be adults. Y'all not carrying yourselves like adults. All right. I never said I was like Christ. Be like Christ. I want to be like Christ, like Christ. If I could be like Christ, we do like this. If I could be like Christ. That's a song, right? That's how we should do the remix. Shout out to Linda Ricks in the building. Shalom, Dwayne Yosef. Shalom. What's going on? All right. So we spent enough time entertaining the trolls, giving shout outs, meet and greets to the people that's coming in here sincerely to learn and to grow. So let's keep building, family. All right. So first things first, we have the calendar finally. Oh, man, it took, I think, 8 months to put that thing together, man. I mean, the first calendar we did, it took a whole year and some change to get that thing out. But now we have the right team in place. And now that this calendar has been completed, we're going to work on the next calendar ASAP. So that way it's available by January. Let me give you a preview of the calendar. Anybody that's interested in the calendar, the link is in the chat. Okay. Excuse me, not the chat. The link is in the description box. So go to the description box below and you'll see a link there to access the calendar. Click the link. It'll give you a prompt for a donation. Provide a donation for our hard work and effort in putting it together. And then you will be emailed a link to access the calendar. Okay. All right. Like Sister V Love says, don't forget to hit the like button. Shout out to my brother, Dumasane Tembe. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly, my brother. It's my brother from South Africa. Listen, my South African family, we got a lot of brothers and sisters in South Africa. We have plans to be in South Africa as soon as possible. But love to meet our South African family. You guys are committed, man, and I appreciate that. Love you guys. You know what I'm saying? Frida D. The D is for delightful. Shalom, sis. Thank you for those words. I appreciate that. All right. All right. So my brother Alexander McCaskill, shalom. Dreamer Dark, shalom. What's going on? What's going on? Bergen Paris, shalom. I see you. My brother Chris Bronson, I see you. Shalom, shalom. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and give you my brother Gabar Alaha, shalom, King. What's going on? I'm going to give you guys, let you guys take a look at the calendar. All right. Take a look at it. Let me show it to y'all. It is phenomenal. It's beautiful. It's beautiful calendar, man. Excellent work from my team that did it. And guess who funded that project? All of our KHM members. They was paying their dues faithfully. We accumulated the capital and budget to allocate for this project. And we had volunteers who tirelessly and I wasn't gonna say effortlessly, but put a lot of effort, blood, sweat, and tears to make this thing a possibility. I gave them the vision and they made it happen. You know what I'm saying? And it was great, man. It's excellent, you know. And again, I look forward to doing it next year. And again, we did a lot of different things this time around that we didn't do last time. But I'm going to show you what this looks like. You can see and appreciate this calendar. Again, if you're interested in getting the calendar, it will be available to you in the description box below. There's a link that you can access it. Thank you, Sister, the Souls of Our Ancestors, for the donation. I appreciate that. She's a piece of Yah be upon you and your household, Divine. Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate that. My brother Yim Yahu Owusu Kora Moa. Hallelujah. Shalom to you as well. Thank you so much. He said I had to take a break from the Clubhouse warfare. Man, it's crazy over there at Clubhouse, man. Crazy. And the Israelites are under attack. What? They're getting attacked from the conscious community on there, the Jewish community on there, Christian apologists on there. It is all out warfare. See, I try to get into some of those skirmishes, but for whatever reason, nobody allows me enough time to talk or to build, because the moment I open up my mouth, people are listening. And if you're a Christian apologist, somebody in the conscious community spitting the same rhetoric against our culture, or you're somebody in the Jewish community, you don't want to give me the floor to talk. It's not going to be fair, because the moment I open my mouth and I talk, people listen. because I say things of value. I have an intent on reaching people sincerely and authentically. I'm not in here to beef or argue. Matter of fact, we had a group on there that said black, brown, and white Jews or something like that. My brother Shema put together that group. I came on there. My brother Ngozi, Amir, shout out to my brother Ngozi, all right, was on there as well. We had a great build, man. I don't know who in here was on that. A Muslim too. Yeah, Muslims coming at us too. Matter of fact, I got like 3 back channel messages from Muslims saying that Allah is the way and come over, my brother, to Islam. You're a smart brother. You should be in Islam. People said all that time, you too smart to be a Hebrew. And I'm like, man, that's insulting. No, that's not the problem. See, the issue is I'm lifting the bar, raising the bar in my community to give you guys a run for your money. Trust me, there's other people like Divine out there. They may just not have the commercial acclaim that I've had because I've done a lot of battles before I got to this point, right? However, I'm opening up the floodgates, the doors. I'm equipping them. I'm training them, and I'm showing our people how to handle these. That's why on Freestyle Friday, we have an open panel. Everybody named Mama from all walks of life come on this channel, and they do their best to persuade me, argue with me, agree with me, whatever the case may be, and we don't back down. I give them an opportunity to talk in length. They say the things that they say. I respond back. Nothing they say can push me off my square. It don't work. Most High built me a little bit differently. All right. I've taken time almost every day researching a whole multitude of different things, especially things outside of my paradigm. So I understand what's going on out there. Sometimes in those clubhouses, I don't even want to talk. People be trying to elevate me, to the stage. I'm like, nah, I just want to say, listen, because I want to hear what's going on out there. And sometimes if it's advantageous for me to go on there and say something meaningful for the edification of the listeners, I will do it. But for the most part, I just want to go in and listen in to see what kind of foolery is going on in there, you know what I'm saying, to keep abreast with it. In case I need to respond to something or somebody asks me later, Divine, can you respond to this? No problem. All right. So check it out. So this is one of the pieces of artwork. And those of you who look out for our community tab on YouTube, you may have seen me post this as an advertisement for the calendar. Okay. So this is the calendar right here. This is awesome artwork. So the sister, Allison, shout out to Sister Allison in New York, who did the artwork on this. My brother Seth. Seth was the one that did the calendar aspect of it, which I'm gonna show you in one moment. But the sister, she, I was talking with her and she came up with this concept that she wanted to do. And that was the elders teaching the youth about their ancestors of the past, times of old, right? And this piece of artwork right here, the sister is heavy into anime. Even though she can draw anything, right? But she just has a favorability towards anime. And I said, you know what? That would be dope if we can give it an anime type twist, but they look like us. And she agreed and she went. And this is the result of what she did. It's great artwork that she did. It's phenomenal. It looks beautiful, man. I mean, you can print these things out if you want. You can go to FedEx, Kinko's, and don't call it Kinko's. I just think it's just FedEx or any kind of print shop. And you can have them print these for you, laminate them, hang them on your wall. Right. So what we did this year, we made a full 12-month calendar. So we used the 12-month Gregorian calendar and just superimpose our KHM pre-exilic Israelite sacerdotal menological model overlaid on top of that 12-month civil Gregorian calendar and just overlaid it with a priestly calendar for the calculation of time in order to ascertain when the feast days are. Okay. So I stretch it that way because last year that was what we would be in asked of. So I said, okay, this year I'll do a 12-month calendar, and we did. Next year also will be similar to this year's calendar. It will be 12 months, and we're just going to overlay it with our calendar. Right now, those of you who are here may have watched the session that went down this past Sunday. This past Sunday, we had a discussion on the calendar. It was me. Shout out to my brother Emmanuel Idili. Hopefully he's in the building, but he helped to facilitate the build. It was me. He was one of the hosts and moderators. And there was other Igbo brothers that was on there, and another Caucasian brother that was on there as well with his wife. And we all was talking about the calendar. But one thing I'm going to say, since we're on the subject of the calendar, and as you guys have seen, as I scroll down, you see how beautiful this calendar is set up. Look how great this calendar is set up, man. You have Hebraic day 1, Hebraic day 2, evening and morning. Okay. And if you see that's out there in the grayed out areas, right? You see the grayed out areas and the areas that's not grayed out. So the one where you see the one at the top, that is our KHM pre-Israelite menological model that's overlaid onto what you see at the bottom. And the bottom is the Gregorian calendar. So we also have various icons on certain days. And over on the left, we have a legend that explains to you what these icons are. So just so you know, in pre-Exilic times, around this time, since we're approaching August, you'll see here, you have the grape and from the summer harvest, the fig from the summer harvest, the pomegranate, palm dates, and olives. There's so much there to learn on this calendar. I'm telling you, it is phenomenal. This is something that you can go over with your children and just show them. It's beautiful. As you can see, the Feast of Trumpets is down here, Yom Teruah, which comes on the next one here. Look at this artwork, man. Look how beautiful this is. The one at the top right, the sister redrew the images from last year's calendar, and this showed how us today in our contemporary times are honoring our ancestors by doing what they did back then in a more contemporary time frame. It's wonderful. As you can see, this guy's wearing a shirt that says Culture, Community, Autonomy, and he also has my neck piece on, which I thought was a nice, interesting touch. You know what I'm saying? This is beautiful. Look at these people. Look at these people. These are our people. Look at that. Look how beautiful this is. The sister did all of this by hand. She did a phenomenal job. My brother Seth, he put this calendar thing together, did a phenomenal job. There's nothing else like this in our community. Nothing else like this. Nothing else like this. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, those of you who like anime, yo, shout out to my brother Warfare Rebirth of a Nation. He has a presentation he's going to do on this channel soon, so you guys can see what we do in the realm of animation when it comes to anime that reflects us, looks like us, and our plight is discussed in the narrative in those anime. I mean, we're reaching the people where they at. Sometimes some people only watch anime. So if you create something that they can relate to, it's another way to commit the truth to them. All right? Here's an image on the stargazers. You know, here's one here on Zeev, preparing the lamb. You know what I'm saying? It's just wonderful, wonderful artwork, man. Look how beautiful this is. Look at the attention to detail in this. Look at this. Phenomenal. Wouldn't you want this on your wall? Wouldn't you want this on your wall, laminated, hanging right up on your wall so you can share with your children? Beautiful, beautiful. Again, if you want this, the link is in the chat. Click the link in the chat. And excuse me, I keep saying click the link in the chat. Matter of fact, let me put the link in the chat since I'm talking about click the link in the chat. Let me put the link in the chat for y'all. And you can just click the link in the chat, or the link is in the description. Go to the description box below, click the link so you can access it. If you have Patreon, you get access for it for free. There's no donation required. However, if you're outside of Patreon, we do request a donation. And the reason why is because some of the funds that we've put into this project came from membership dues and Patreon supporters. So we give them back, the members. And if you're a member of KHM, you also have access to this calendar as well for free. So if you don't have it and you're a member, just inbox us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. We'll verify your membership and we'll make sure we get it out to you. All right. We want all of our members to have this calendar. All of our Patreon, there's a post on Patreon where we have it. All the members, please make sure you check your app. There's going to be a push notification coming out on your app. So that way, when you see the push notification, do not swipe it away. Go to our app, go into inbox, and you'll see the message there where we'll give you the link so you can click on it and get access to the calendar, all right? Because they help to fund this thing. Anybody outside of that, we ask for your donations. So that way, that'll be additional surplus capital we can pour into the next calendar and future projects that are similar to that. All right. So again, there's nothing like this in the community. I know when we put it together, I was like, man, this is unique. This is beautiful. And I'm going to drop it right here in the chat for you. There's the link. Click the link right there in the chat. Shout out to DB, is Yah's Miracle Child. Shalom. Deborah M. Prayers, giftsupply.com. Shalom, sis. Eric Tinsley. Shalom. I see you. Danny L. Williams. Shalom. DJ. Shalom. I see y'all. Remarkable Ministries in the building. I think she's watching live from Germany. Shalom. Shalom. That's part of one half of my executive staff. Man, it's like I said, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. So yeah, that's that right there. I wanted to put that out there because we finally got it out. Again, so much went into this. We was going to give up several times. It was like, man, it's getting so late in the year. But I said, look, they still have the feast, the fall feast coming up. People may enjoy it for the fall feast, or some people may just want to collect this item from KHM. Maybe you'll like the ministry that much. Here's a collector's item for you for the year 2021. Next year, we're trying to have them available on January 1st. So we're going to work expeditiously on it from now to the end of the year to put out 2022's calendar and go from there. All right. And again, like I said, this is a 12-month calendar. So even after the feast days, before and after the feast days, or in between feast days, you can still use it for civil activities. Now, going forward, what we're trying to do for next year, we're going to have another digital copy, but for our members and Patreon supporters, we're creating a physical copy that you can modify the dates, which means you don't have to wait for us to mail you a physical date. They are laminated, magnetic, structured. You're just going to have the bottom portion, though. So you may not have the artwork because the artwork is going to change from year to year. But if you look at this bottom part right here, it's going to be a laminated, magnetic surface. And it's going to have everything you see here, but you can shift around the numbers, shift around the icons. And that way, all you have to do is get the official dates from us, and then you can just put it right in your calendar, hang it right on your wall. That is the next project that we're working out on, a physical calendar that is modifiable. Matter of fact, you may not even agree with our calendar dates, but you can still purchase this for us and create your own dates on it. So we're doing things of this nature to put out merchandise that is interactive, that's customizable, that you can own for yourself, because we want to be one of the major producers in the Israelite community, because we are sorely in need of our own products. Okay, this is something that if you homeschooling at home, or if you have a homeschooling center like a High Academy, shout out to High Academy, or Set Apart Homeschooling Academy, shout out to Homeschool or Set Apart Homeschooling Academy. They can use that to teach the kids as well. All right. Again, next year, when we put the physical one out, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. All right. All right. So hopefully you'll enjoy the shots. Remember the Kids Run from Gary, Indianapolis, Indiana. Excuse me, in the building. Indianapolis, another city in Indiana. My bad. Shout out to Sister Jaslyn Berry. Shalom, sis. Shalom. All right. So again, thank you to my team for helping put this together. I wish I had that team early last year. Then we could have put it all together this year, but we didn't have the team. We had a team lead who wasn't, of our project manager team that wasn't able to assist because he had a job responsibility come up. And I understand. So, a lot of things just didn't go the way that we intended, but it's done and it's out. And next year, like I said, we're working on it now in advance. So next year it can be available. And to our members and patrons, thank you so much for your donations and your dues, because it made this possible. We have tons of other products that's coming out. My brother KB in the chat, he's over our merchandise department. He's our merchandise coordinator. So now we got somebody situated there to help with things. So I ain't got to pull the strings for everything and micromanage and overlook anything, because it's difficult for me to do that. But I appreciate everybody that y'all has sent our way to make things possible. We've broken so much ground in this community so far. So many firsts came out of KHM. Whether people want to admit it or not, so many firsts came out of KHM. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything like that. I'm saying it because you have to be a trendsetter. You have to make this type of stuff cool. You have to have some kind of swag to it. You got to be ahead of the cutting edge of things. And you just gotta be in it. You know what I'm saying? You got to produce. You know what I'm saying? The society has taught us to be heavy consumers. That is why we value material things that have no substance, and that is vanity. It is. It's vanity. It doesn't reflect our culture, our values, who we are. We just get it because society puts a value in these things. And the people that our children look up to, these rappers that's talking about selling crack, all right, talking about shootouts, talking about how they degrading women, all of this stuff. And then we watch these stuff on TV. All of this stuff is not conducive for our environment. It's there for entertainment. But a lot of times people cannot draw the line between entertainment and reality. Sometimes people's entertainment become their reality, and they want to emulate the things that they see. So we got to start producing material and items. So every time the kid sees a calendar in the house, oh, they see themselves. They go to eat, the tableware is there. Oh, they get to eat their food. They go to put on YouTube. Oh, they got a video there. Oh, they want to read their Bible. The characters look like them. Oh, everything in the environment reflects their culture, and they can identify with it. And being it, reflecting their culture and them identifying with it, guess what? Now, as they grow older, their values will be much different than those around them. Now they're truly kodesh, truly set apart. Are we preparing our children to be set apart in this world? And the only way that we can do that is if we engulf them into the culture by means of producing products that will affect their day-to-day lives for the better. All right. Shout out to Sadaria Halliburton. I see you, Sadaria, in Clubhouse as well. My brother Zeph, I see you in Clubhouse as well, getting it in. All praise to the Most High. Y'all see, it's a difference. When we come in there and we teach, it's different than the stuff they doing in there. And when they allow me to teach, I try to maximize my time to humbly share information so we can raise the bar in our community. And shout out to everybody that allow me in their Clubhouse room, that allowed me to speak and that just listened and gave me time to build and edify. Because when I'm on there, I'm not there to play, man. It's another platform where our people on there. I'm telling you, so many people have jumped into my chats and the chats that were in the rooms that I was in and just was listening, like just eavesdropping And these are people that are worldly people. Inbox me in the back channel and say, man, I want to learn more about this. I want to learn more about that. And you go into their profiles all ratchet and everything like that. I don't judge them. I say, cool, if you want to learn more, A, B, and C, this is how we do it. Some of them said they'll be on here on this show and watching this show. All praise to the Most High. People are everywhere. So when somebody says to me, will Christ be on social media? If the lost sheep is there, if one sheep is on social media, he said he's going to leave the 99, go for that one. Yeah, he'll be on social media. Definitely. Will the prophets of old, the Nebaim, be on social media? Of course. If Israel's there, they got to get the message to Israel. They got to proclaim this message. So yes, if they had social media today, they would be on social media. The thing that you won't see with them on social media is a bunch of ratchetness. They're not going to be gossiping. Their whole intent is to reach Israel. That's it. That's the only messages you'll see come from out of their streams. Because Israel is there. It's a different world that we live in. We don't live in the same world that they lived in back then. It's a different world. And social media is the way that people communicate. Okay. Shout out to Eric Tinsley for the donation. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate that. Shout out to Tyler I95. Shalom King. Thank you for the donation. Shout out to Brandon Blackwell. Shalom. Shalom. What's going on? What's going on? All right. So Radiant One, the best way to get that information is to go to the website, call the number that's there, speak to the dean, and they'll give you all the information you need for that, right? So what I'll do is I'll put it in the chat in case you don't have it. And that way you can just call the contact number and speak to the dean, okay? I'm going to drop it in the chat for you. All right. Hold on one second. I didn't even know that was doing that. All right. All right. There's the link right there. And again, we're working on, shout out to Ruth Smith in the building. Shalom. We're working on the educational pipeline from pre-K to doctorate, where we own every aspect of education that our children go through. That's phenomenal. We didn't have this 3 years ago. We didn't have this 5 years ago. We didn't have this 7 years ago. Different people come out with these ideas. Hey, we want to do a homeschooling center for our people, right? From K to 12. Hey, we want to do an institute for our people. And I see this. I encourage it. I foster, I promote it. I said, look, put them together. Just give them a whole pre-K to doctorate educational pipeline that we own and we operate and we control every facet of it. That didn't exist before, but it's here. So when people talk about all the stuff they want to do to criticize Divine and KHM, it's okay. Keep criticizing. I don't see you putting no structure together for your children to learn. Your children probably still in public school. Mine's not. Your children's in public school. They ain't got no Bible in the public school. They're not teaching them who they are in the public school. Where my children go, that's what they learn. Your kids don't. So how are we cut different now? What are you trying to say? You can't even contend with me on that. What are you doing to autonomously groom your children so that way they're engulfed in the culture of Torah? They know about the Mashiach, who you call Yeshua Bar Yosef, Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai. What are you providing them? They need education. It's a mandate. Mandate. So we're trying to make splashes in that realm for the benefit of our people. All praise to the Most High. This is why I don't let the haters stop me. I don't let the trolls stop me, because at the end of the day, we are doing things that they can only dream of doing. All because we've applied ourselves. The things that we learn abstractly, we apply it concretely. And all they get to do is just talk about it. Now, they may be living it, but you living it, how is it effectuating your community at large? It's a different ball game. Shout out to my brother Jack L. Black. KHM is in the building. Everywhere, man. Shout out to Sister Jaslyn Berry. Look, let me tell you this real quick. Hopefully you're okay with this, Jaslyn, me putting you out there like that. Shout out to Sister Vanessa, who has this program for our youth, our troubled youth who suffer from addiction and other ailments and issues and stuff like that. Created a program that I came on to assist with initially. I brought Sister Jaslyn on with me, and then Sister Vanessa just hired Jaslyn. Now Jaslyn is out there as a director of this program, put it in work for the community. Now, if Sister Jaslyn reached out when I put the word out, this is how I know that we have authentic people that follow this ministry. I said, look, we need somebody to help with education for our children, our youth, or whatever. The sister reached out. Hey, Divine, this is a passion of mine. I like to do this. I say, cool, I'm going to put you on a conference call right? And you can work with me to assist Sister Vanessa. Came on a conference call, spoke to Sister Vanessa, and guess what? After that, Sister Vanessa loved Jaslyn, found out she was in the area because she's out here in Georgia like me, and they're near the Bay Area, Sacktown, right? And then guess what? From there, she hired Jaslyn, and without Jaslyn, they could not have done all the work that they did in that program. So I could have been discouraged from the people hating on me, criticizing me. So maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe I'm not doing that right. And guess what? We would have never had Jaslyn in the position she's in to change the lives of those children. So many stories I could tell y'all. Millions of stories I could tell y'all. So if I was to focus on the hate, none of this stuff would be possible. So I thank the Most High that we know how to rise above the hate. And guess what? The hate comes from our own people more than anybody else. That's the problem. See, they never have to send an agent provocateur of another race. They just send our own people. That's it. And foster the things that our own people say against us. It's a shame. But all you have to do is stand in your square and stay consistent. Stay consistency. The scripture says to be blameless. Being blameless is not an easy thing. It's a process. It's something I strive each and every day. I strive to be righteous each and every day. I strive to be righteous each and every day. Right? This is why when I woke up my house, I have no fear. Because if you live righteously, you should not be in fear of anything and anybody. And whatever happens to you is meant to happen to you. That's how it works. And as you go about, you change lives as you go. And you never know what the day may hand you, but you take advantage of it and you make a difference as much as you can. All right? This is how we do. This is how we move. All right? So Ebony Knowledge, if you are in the North Carolina area, we could definitely use it. Shout out to Sister Karen, Brother Stephen. In the next 2 weeks, I'll be meeting with all our directors from all our chapters to make sure they're in place and doing what they need to do. Then we're going to meet with our admin team. We're going to meet with our Naturopath the Eden team, which is doing a phenomenal job, by the way. We're going to meet with our marketing team, our merchandise team. So all of our teams, I'm going to meet with all of y'all in the next 2 weeks. If you didn't get the message yet, I'm saying it publicly. We're going to meet with y'all in the next 2 weeks to make sure everything is structured in order and everything's flowing the way it needs to be. All right. But yes, sister, if you in North Carolina, we can definitely use your help and your assistance out in that area. We have a Raleigh chapter. A lot of people from Charlotte came through, so we have to start a Charlotte chapter at some point. But if you want to help, yes. And we also have most of our roles, almost all our roles are volunteer roles where we pay stipends out if needed. However, we are willing to hire some light part-time roles too, because there's a lot of work that we need to do. We need help to do it. Shout out to Panther Danora in the building. Shalom. All right. There it is, my brother. The Messiah said, let your light shine before men that they may see your good deeds and glorify the Most High in heaven. And you are doing that. Listen, I'm only doing it by his grace, by his mercy, because I'm a mess. I'm going to tell you that. I'm not qualified for this. And I'm going to tell you that I'm not qualified for this. Right. If we're looking at it from human eyes, but I thank the Most High that he saw that he can use a filthy rag like me to make a difference. And sometimes filthy rags still have a purpose. You have to repurpose them. Find the necessary cleaning agents to clean them and repurpose them. See, people who invest in things, once that investment runs its course, they find a way to repurpose so they can get the most out of their investment. That's what Yah does with us, because his intent when we're born, he says that I've known you while you were yet in your mother's womb. I formed your inward parts. So he had a purpose for us to be tov or functional or effective in society as his representative. Unfortunately, a lot of us were not groomed into this culture to know that that was our purpose. So we lived a life of raggedness, of filthiness, of unrighteousness. But all praise to the Most High Yah that he saw a busted up, beat down car that was put in the junkyard and said, I can restore that. I can give it new purpose. I could do something with that. It has potential. Other people don't see it, but I do. Most High said, look not upon the appearance of the man, but look at the heart, the inward man. If you make the effort, the people that stand up and say, look, we want to support KHM because it's a collective, collaborative community effort to change our worldview for the better. I told you, if you don't have peace in these cities because you Israelites are not stepping up to the plate, all of y'all, including me, we have to give 1,000% to our communities. The scripture says in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 7, instruction went out to them while they was in Babylonian captivity. It didn't say wait and pray for Jesus to crack the clouds open and come and rapture you up. That's not what the text says. It didn't say that. And it says just lay idle and just let the Most High work. It gave you instructions. Seek the peace of the city. Intervene on its behalf to Yah, for in its peace you will have peace. If you come to me and complain about what's going on in your city, I'm saying, what you doing about it? Show me. Where's it at? Huh? What was that? Oh, what? Oh, okay. And you think you're fulfilling the Most High's will by just sitting there or going to a congregation, sitting in the pew? No, that's not enough. It's not enough. You got to do more. You have to do more. We are responsible for ushering shalom, the quiet before the storm. The storm is coming. It's ramping up. And it's only because the righteous are in these cities that the Most High didn't take it out yet. But guess what? There's still a time limit on it. The hourglass has been turned off and the sand is spilling down. So we can still enjoy a degree of peace before full judgment happens. But we must maximize our time, work circumspectly in these last days that are evil, and do what we're called to do. Are you ensuring shalom? When you are in people's lives, when you come to a place, do people sense the shalom? Did they know that there's a bigger power behind you because you're not qualified to do this? Does your essence and your energy, when you're somebody, changes the atmosphere? Does it do that? Because if they're going to respect Yah, they first have to respect his agents that he sends, the ones that are chosen. That is us. That is our obligation. That is our due diligence and our duty that we are supposed to be doing this. There's no excuses in 2021. You have too many resources and too many opportunities now. The problem is they want you to believe that because of slavery in the past and the things that we're facing now, yes, we still are being oppressed. However, we have resources to overcome that oppression. We may not overthrow the yoke of our captivity, but we can make choices and what we do our day-to-day lives, and we don't have to stay oppressed. You know why? Because a lot of Israelites go to Devarim 28 or Deuteronomy 28 to all the curses. But I'm like, whoa, wait a second. What if you're keeping Torah? Ain't there some benefits for keeping Torah? You just skipped over verses 1 to 15. You just leapfrog right over it. But there's blessings there. But it's collectively that we enjoy the blessings. Collectively. So I'm not coming on here being another personality, moray that just teaching you from YouTube. Y'all see me in these cities? Y'all saw me in these cities? You see me out here in these cities? Out there, smack down in the middle of downtown in your city, talking to the people, building with the people, and then we go out for lunch on that Sunday, take care of the tab and everything. Right? You come out, you meet out with us for the KHM chapter meeting. We feed you and everything, give you great quality people to talk to build with, to fellowship with, come together and strategize to the table on how we're going to change our community. We're not here to play. We're not here to play. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to change lives, to make a difference. So all praise to the Most High. This is for everybody. All of y'all are capable of doing this. Don't let no hater, no troll, or nobody discourage you or disqualify you from the purpose that Yah has breathed into you. They didn't breathe it into you, so they can't change it. Now, they may try to stop it. They may defame you, talk bad about you, drag your name through the dirt, say you're not qualified, you're not nothing. Look at all these past mistakes you made and judge you on your past. I say, look, you want to live my past, that's fine, but I'm walking into my future. You can stay there in my past. Go ahead, set up a tent, build a house there. You can live in my past. That's okay. But guess what? It's not going to bother me no more. Whatever you say about me, about my past, is not going to bother me no more because I don't live there no more. I'm not there. That's like somebody tell me my old house, oh, they doing A, B, and C at your old house. I'm like, so I don't live there no more. My name ain't on that title. My name on that deed. My name ain't on that lease. So that's not my concern no more. So if you are so stuck on me as a person, on my past mistakes, that's fine. You can live there. I don't live there no more. Divine is not there no more. I'm going this way. I'm going that way. And I'm going to call you out for trying to live in my past. And then check it out, that's how Yah works. If you want to go and judge people, at some point, your dirty laundry is going to be exposed. And you know, the difference is I'm not going to gloat about it because scripture tells me not to do that. All I'm going to do is know that when it happens, that Yah's word is real. So don't let nobody force you to live in some old place that you don't live no more. They can stay there. They can camp there. That's just for them. That's not for you. All right. Let me fall back. Shout out to the Hebrew housewife in the building. Shalom. It's just a conversation. Shalom. William Allen. Shalom. What's going on? It's my brother, the elder. Oh, shout out to the elder in the building. We was going back and forth with this brother in the Clubhouse room, man. I mean, Clubhouse is ruthless, man. It is ruthless. And I had to go back and forth with a brother that was heavily dogmatic. It was an uphill battle the whole time. But then after that, when that room was shut down, we started a new room, and starting that new room, we was able to rebuild with the people and actually deal in a human level with the people. All right. It was able to deal with the people on a different level. It was much different. It was much different, you know, because a lot of times people are not mindful that other people on there are sincerely there looking for some form of truth. And if you bicker, argue, and fight, you're not going to change anything. You're making things worse. You're doing fuel to the flame. Shout out to Dawid Akeem in the building. Shalom. My brother out there in Norfolk, Virginia. Through him and his Isha is over Set Apart Homeschooling Academy. If you have children and you're in the VA Beach, Norfolk area, you must reach out to this brother because they have a homeschooling academy for your children. This is autonomy. It's my brother in arms right there. I love that brother. Good people is right there, man. All right. All right. All right. Let's shift over. All right. So also so you know, we still do have the KHM, the Truth Works mixtape volume 3 is still available. If you want to get the mixtape, the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition and show you guys the wealth of stuff that we've placed on Patreon. We also have a brand new HP laptop giveaway. Yes, we're giving away an $800+ laptop for free. You have to be on Patreon to get this. It's because of the Patreon funding that we get, we purchase items to give away. Super chat, we get items to give away. Donations, you know, dues that we get, we use that for capital. We allocate our money around appropriately. All right, I got the computer right here. Let me show it to y'all real quick. Let me show it to y'all. All right, the computer is right here. It's a brand new HP. I just got it today. Brand new HP laptop. This is part of our back to school giveaway initiative. So we want to put this in the hand of a needy child, okay, that is going back to school this fall. This is it right here. It's a brand new HP laptop, still in the plastic. All right, we're giving a laptop away. All right, I'm gonna show you the details in 1 second. All right, find me another place where they just giving laptops out. They giving $800 laptops out, because we got more than just this. Once we hit this milestone, we're gonna give this laptop away. We got more stuff that we're gonna give away. That's all we need to do, just give it away. All right. So no, Jordan's case, it's not a 4K, not at that price. It's not 4K. It does have a 1080p screen though, and it's touchscreen too. All right. So we're giving away a $800+ laptop for a student that cannot afford a laptop. Now, a lot of things are still remote learning. So there are some parents out there that cannot afford to buy laptop for their child, right? So what we want to do is we want to offer a laptop as a giveaway for a child. Now, I'm explaining to you the details of the giveaway. All right. Let me show you our Patreon real quick. So you guys can see what we have going on the Patreon. Again, that's why you got to sign up for the Patreon. You got tons of content, tons of study materials, books, articles, website access, language course, everything is on it, man. I just added a whole new series we're doing where we're giving primary evidence of Black Jews in West and Central Africa. Primary evidence. And that's all we've been posting on in the past week or so. And I'm putting more and more content. It's tons of data I have on it. So when people make you think there's no evidence for Black Jews in West Africa that came over here on slave ships, I'm like, yo, we don't need to do Deuteronomy 28:68 for us to build the case and show you the probability that this is true. Okay. All right. Let me show you the Patreon real quick. Again, Patreon is a 365 24/7 after party. Once the YouTube show is over, you pick up everything on our Patreon page. All right. So let me show it to y'all real quick. And again, you're still going to have the trolls in there still hating. I mean, we giving out a whole laptop for a child in need and they still hating. They can't even congratulate you and say, yo, my brother, that's a great idea, man. They just still hating. Like, that's crazy, man. Somebody said mental illness in the community is serious. I believe it. I believe it. No matter how much good you do, they're still going to criticize. And yet they're not doing nothing. Not doing anything. All right. Here we go right here. All right. Let me zoom in so that way you can see it. All right. So this here is our Patreon. All right. It's at different levels you can subscribe to. And we have different benefits that come with that. We have, wow, 387 patrons. And I'm going to tell you a milestone. From my examination of almost all the various groups and teachers that's in the YouTube community, our Patreon has the most patrons than almost anybody else in the Israelite community, from what I examined. So that means we must be doing something right. It may not be the best, but we're doing something right. We're doing something right, that people are willing to invest in this ministry. Okay? We have all of this content, right? We have almost 500. Matter of fact, let's see. We have 78, 80, 82, and 14. We have almost 500 pieces of content in here, man. All right. So here we have this some content on the Semitic associations and affinities between Igbo culture and Israelite culture, identified by G.T. Bass in 1921 CE. Here is our giveaway right here, our road to 400 patrons, back to school giveaway. All right. So now in this giveaway, this is our back to school initiative. With this giveaway, we need your help to get to 400 patrons. Once we get to 400 patrons, we will unlock this giveaway. And what's going to happen is this is available to anybody that's part of our Patreon, right? Or maybe somebody that the Patreon or the patron may know. If you know somebody that is in need of a laptop for their child, you can do this on their behalf as well. And what we're doing here is that the child who needs the laptop has to write us a short essay. And that short essay has to be on how does being an Israelite better enable you to have greater character in your community, at your school, in your home. They have to write a short essay. It's not that long. Maybe short essays, a couple of paragraphs, right? But they have to take time, put effort, and write. All right. And we want to know how is identifying as Israel, going back to the statute, laws, commandments, understanding Yah's will through Yeshua as well. And all these things holistically. How has this enabled you to be a better child in your home, at school, in your community, etc. All right. So when we hit 400 patrons, we're going to unlock this laptop giveaway. And we're trying to get it done in the next couple of weeks. So that way a child can get it before the fall semester begins. And then once that's done, we're going to have other giveaways for school and other things as well. But we want to start off with something big. And I said, look, let me buy this laptop from all the money that we're collecting. Let me start investing it like I've been doing in items that we're giving back to the community. Buy this laptop and let's give it to somebody and see what child's going to make the effort to write this paper so they can earn themselves a laptop. All right. And we're going to assess the essays we get in. We're going to pick the best one and we're going to give that to the child that wins. And we also want to give consolation prizes to all other children that have entered, because we don't want no children to feel like, oh man, I lost, I didn't win. We want to give them something. Right. But we want to inspire them to be academic so they may receive something. OK. But again, this is what we do. We give away back to the community because we love our people. Right. All right. Also, here's another book called Igbo Peoples, Our Common Manners and Customs as Hebrew Peoples. An excellent book right there. Another one, Igbos, the Hebrews of West Africa, which is an article that was written in 2017 as a Master's of Theology dissertation. Excellent, excellent work. Here's the free access to your KHM Pre-Exilic Israelite Sacerdotal Menological Calendar for 2021. For all of our Patreon members, you get access to that for free. We also have another content reference from the Talmudic Gemara mentioning the lost tribes of Israel being exiled to Africa, 450 to 550 CE. We also have Mungo Park encounters Jews along the Niger River during his travels in the interior of West Africa, 1799 CE. Students of Rabbi Eliyahu of Vilna writes letters to the 10 lost tribes of Israel in Africa looking for assistance to establish a Sanhedrin Council in Israel in 1808 CE. We have Ashkenazic and Sephardic Jewish rabbis in London write letters to the lost tribes of Israel in West Africa to be distributed during the British expedition along the Niger River in 1841 CE. We have eyewitness testimony from Eldad Hadani about where he saw the tribes of Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher in Ethiopia in the 9th century CE, and more and more and more. We have so much stuff on this Patreon, man. Free access stuff, websites, language courses, giveaways, articles, books, you name it, it's on here. We don't play when it comes to this. So if you're serious about getting invested in your studies, you must sign up with our Patreon. There's so much content on it. There's no way you can get through all of that in the next couple of years. We have so many books and art. It's too much content on here. And we continuously add to it every week. It's so overwhelming, but in a good way. There's never a lack of resources. I spend my time to go through all of this stuff and vet it out before I post it on there for you guys. All right? Boom Shakalaka, you wanted me to report my works to you. So yes, report your works to us. Yes, we're going to hold you accountable. All right? Now we want you to report your works to us. That's what we're going to do. So all the stuff you see I'm doing that you're speaking against, you must do better. Okay? Judge not lest you be judged. Now you're under scrutiny. So yes, make videos. We want to see your works. Because what's going to happen now is that a lot of that stuff is going to be fabricated. You're going to be doing it for the gram. Because I've been doing this for years. Check my resume. I ain't just start doing it because somebody called me. Yeah, I've been doing this for years. Check my resume. Ask around. Go back and watch the archives of videos we got on this channel. I've been doing this for years. For a long time. A long time. So yes, you need to report to us. Report back to us, sis. Report back to us. Yes, report it back to us. All right? All right. Shout out to my brother Jaylon Israel in the building. Shout out to Jacob's Trouble. I see you. Shalom. All right. All right. So please, family, let's go ahead and get to 400 Patreons. Get the word out to everybody about how dope our Patreon is so we can get more people to sign up, so we can bring more resources in the community and we can do more for our people because we have a brand new HP laptop here waiting to go in the hands of a child that otherwise cannot get access to a computer simply so they can go to school. You know, I've heard a lot of stories and know a lot of people who could not afford laptops once their child was forced to go to school from home. And I said to myself, at some point, I want to do something about that. So I said, why don't I just purchase laptops and just give them away? But not just give them away for free, but I want to make sure that child is applying themselves to earn the things that they're working for and the goals that they're working towards. All right. There's no age range from the students. No age range. K to 12, because you may get a 9-year-old that may write something that is more authentic than a 16-year-old. So there's no age range. K to 12. Your child is in K to 12. They're all eligible to write this essay. And parents, please let your children write it in their own words. Don't write it for them, because I can tell if a parent wrote it or not. Don't write it for them. Let your child write it so they can earn this thing. All right? They can earn themselves a free laptop. All right? Get wise, the fine child. Y'all are funny, man. Shout out to D Sherman in the building. I see you. Shalom. All right. All right. So with that being said, family, all right, we got that stuff off the way. Now, what I want to introduce you guys to, and again, like we always do, we have tons of resources we share all the time. Here's another resource that I want to share with y'all. I've mentioned it before, but now I want to show it to y'all. Also, I see some people that hit me out off of the chat asking about the shirt. This is the shirt that we made before. It's called Pastor No Tithing. Pastor No Tithing. Pastor No Tithing. Oh, man. You see that? Pastor trying to collect tithes? And people's like, no tithing. Because they know you can't biblically tithe in the 21st century. You cannot do it no more. All right. So if anybody's interested in a t-shirt, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com so we can fulfill that order. All right. We got some things on back order we still have to fulfill, but we're going to get to you, family. And if we have not gotten to you within 2 weeks of anything that you have won, you earned, or whatever, if something slips into the cracks, please give us a call and put your request in again, and we will get it once it's on record for the call. All right. All right. So let's see. What else we got going on? Yes, just like that. Swipe or no swiping. That's the concept. We built it off of swipe or no swiping. We said Pastor No Tithing, Pastor No Tithing, Pastor No Tithing. And then at the bottom of the shirt, we have scriptures on here. It says, say no to tithes, say yes to charity. So the shirt does all of the work for you. You ain't got to say a word. You just wear it. And this is my 10 Commandments piece that I have on right now. All right. All right. Shout out to my brother Comedic Hebrew in the building. Salute and shalom. You like that, Sister Lynn? That's funny, right? Oh, man. Shout out to Jacob Trouble says, do we have a chapter in Chicago? No, we don't. But that is on our list for next year. Chicago and Detroit is on our list for next year. I just don't want to go to Chicago and Detroit in the late fall and wintertime. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I left New York for a reason, even though sometimes it get a little chilly in Georgia, but it's nothing like New York weather. So I will only put myself there during the spring and summertime, unless I have to go there. You know what I'm saying? But yes, we look forward to having our chapter in Chicago. We have tons of brothers and sisters out there, as well as in Detroit. All right. We're not out here to play games, man. We're here to change the community for the better. And if you don't have our app, go to your Apple App Store, your Google Play Store, and type in My One Church app. Let me show it to y'all. Some people always ask, what does it look like? Let me show it to you. The My One Church app, this is what it looks like. And on our app, you can join our groups. You can apply for membership. All right. Join our groups for the things that we have going on in the community. Apply for membership. You can check us out on social media platforms on there. You can also sign in to your Patreon from that app and just access your Patreon just right from one app. You receive push notifications from us. Once we have your information, we can send you out text messages. If you opt in, we can send you emails, etc. All right. So Yeti Hebrew Dre said he has this necklace. Well, you have the necklace or the neck piece, because this is a custom combo. I got the necklace from somebody separate, and I got the piece from somebody separate. So I doubt you have this particular setup, but you may have the piece with another necklace, or you may have the necklace with a different piece. All right. I know that because this was custom. This is custom. All right. So yes, get the My One Church app, download and install it, open up the app. Once the app is opened up and you launch the app, look for the zip code field and type 30064. 30064. Hit enter, and then you'll see our Kingdom Harbinger Ministries entry pop up. Click on that, and then that'll bring you right into the app, and then you can do what you can do right into our app. Okay. All right, here we go. My brother Daweed, he has an event coming on called Covenant Renewal. It's September 4th to the 5th, 2021 in Hampton Roads, Virginia. My brother Daweed Akeem, post your email in the chat so I can share it on the screen. So if anybody's interested, they can reach out to you and RSVP. So if you're in the Virginia area or surrounding areas, you want to converge there. September 4th, I went to their event last year that he had, the cryo event, which was phenomenal event that my brother put off out there, and he's doing another one this year. All praise to the Most High. All right, shout out to my sister Yvette Powell in the building. I see you, sis. Shalom, yeah, boy. Shalom. I see you. All right. So let's move forward, family. All right. So, family, let me know what you want to do. Do you want me to introduce you to? Matter of fact, let me show you the material first. Talk about it, and then what I'm going to do is open up the room. So if the trolls want to jump on and have a dialogue, I'm gonna give you a chance, trolls. My brother Jaylon Israel Dallas, yes, our Dallas chapter is not very active, so this is why I'm meeting with all the directors, so that way I can get them active again. My brother Jaylon Israel, if you're interested in any kind of leadership role or a help and assistant role for our Dallas chapter, please email me, my brother, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, or call the number going across the screen, schedule an appointment, and let us chat. All right, because we need some assistance with our Dallas chapter, also with our Orlando chapter. Anybody that's in Orlando, I want to help to reactivate our Orlando chapter. Please email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Gmail.com. All right. So I'll go over this, and then once I go over it, then I wanna jump to giving the trolls an opportunity to speak. And then what I'll probably do before I go to bed, after I sign over here, I'll probably do a pop-up session on Clubhouse, because I know for the most part, they ain't really saying much on there. So please make sure you guys have that, so that way you guys can then jump on that session, and you can follow me on there at DivineProspect. That contact information is below in the description box, so you don't miss none of our pop-up sessions, none of our scheduled sessions, because we go in when it comes to our Clubhouse app. All right. The classes, yes, I'm working on those too. Those will be out soon. That'll be troll-free learning environment. Unfortunately, this environment is open to the public. Our classes is not open to the public. When we here doing Freestyle Friday, it's open to any and everybody. That's why the trolls come out. We give them an opportunity to speak, or whatever the case may be, find a teaching moment, edification moment, encouragement moment, etc. Do what we can. All right. But again, we have tons of stuff to teach, tons of stuff for you to learn. Also, if you guys have a scripture that you want us to go over real quick, we can apply the KHM Holistic Research Paradigm to it, and show you how to better get more depth understanding of that text. All right. So what I want to introduce to y'all is this book right here. It's called English Grammar to Ace New Testament Greek by Samuel Lamerson. This is an excellent book. I also have the one for Biblical Hebrew. If you want to learn the language and it's very difficult for you to start, you need this book. Now, on our Patreon, we have Biblical Hebrew and Biblical Greek, and we also have Ugarit and Syriac. So the Ugarit and Syriac is for the higher tiers, like $50 or more. But if you go to our $20 tier, you get access to our 2 language courses, Biblical Hebrew, Biblical Greek. And that's for absolute beginners, people that have no background in linguistics whatsoever, right? You learn all the foundational and basic functional aspects of Biblical Hebrew and Biblical Greek. However, sometimes it may be difficult for people to access a foreign language because they don't understand the English grammatical constituents that need to be associated with the items in the grammar of the other language that you're trying to learn, in this case, Hebrew and Greek. And therefore, it's very difficult for them to understand it. This book is a godsend. That's what they call it. This book and the one in Biblical Hebrew is a godsend because what this does is that it helps you to refresh on English grammar that you use every day and show you how English grammar relates to Biblical Hebrew and Biblical Greek grammar. I mean, when I got this book, I said, yo, this book is awesome. When I got the Hebrew, I was like, yo, this is awesome because I was like, man, people need to know about this because it makes it, it's written in very plain language. There's not a lot of grammatical jargon in there. You know, it's stuff that you should know. And it just makes the relationships between English and those other languages. It just makes it easily accessible. Again, this book is only $8 or $9 on Amazon. It's one called English Grammar to Ace New Testament Greek and English Grammar to Ace Biblical Hebrew. Please, if you want to get into the language, you must get this book. All right. So the sister says, your precious meetings ain't open to the crackheads either. How real is that? I'm not sure what she's talking about. Is she talking about our chapter launches? Chapter launch is open to anybody. That's why we advertise it to the public. We've actually had people who are needy come there just to get food. And guess what? After we spoke with them, we hooked them up with housing and a job. We have some testimonies coming out soon. So we're going to hold our horses. And the interesting thing is the sister's out here saying this, but we don't see her doing any of these work. She's just talking. So sis, I love you, but you're just talking, sis. Just blowing air. So, you know, it doesn't really mean much to us. Also, family, if you guys need a Bible to order to fast track you to a lot of the stuff that we talk about on this channel, this is it right here. The Cultural Background Study Bible. This is one of the greatest investments in a Bible that I ever made in my life. One of the greatest investments that I said, man, I need a physical copy because I had a digital copy for a long time. I said, yo, I need physical copies of this. I even shipped some out to some brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, this is the best Bible because the culture is the foundation for understanding the text. And if you do not understand the culture, you're not going to understand nothing like prophecy. You're not going to understand any revelation. Nothing's going to make sense if you don't understand the culture. You'll have some semblance of understanding, but the depth of your understanding is going to be limited if you do not understand the cultural foundation of the people that Yah chose to speak through. All right. And this book's get you right back, transport you right back in time to when those individuals lived. It's an awesome, awesome work. Like this one right here, where it says the strange and foreign women, because you'll see in the book of Proverbs, it does a juxtaposition between the strange women and the foreign women. And then it also does a juxtaposition with that, with the women who are righteous, the Proverbs 31 woman, etc. And it gives you some artifact from the ancient Near Eastern world to give you the context of what's being spoken of. All right, that's awesome. All right, this also gives you maps and atlases showing you nations and cities mentioned in the book of Isaiah. The preface goes over linguistic glosses for you in Hebrew and Greek. There's a chronology in here. I know the brother asked me about the chronology on the Clubhouse. It also goes into the major covenants in the what's called the Old Testament here. These are all the covenants here. Your Noah, your Abraham, your David, or Davidic, etc. Right? Oh, let me take this part off so it'll get ripped up. There we go. All right. Here's the chronology right here. It has a chronology in it. You see that? It also has ancient text relating to the Old Testament. Okay, check it out. Look at this. Look how awesome this is. See that? And as I'm going through this, let me show you something that I shared on social media today. Those of you following me on social media, y'all have already seen this. But those who haven't, I'm going to show it to you right now. All right? Because I love bringing this information out. All right? This is breaking news. It says the missing wall of biblical Jerusalem is discovered. Proves Iron Age Jerusalem was a well-fortified city, as mentioned in the scriptures. Because prior to this finding, it was doubtful that there was even a wall to fortify the city based on what the scriptures say. So now they just recently, we talking about in the past month or so, they just recently uncovered this thing. And it says the Israel Antiquities Authority announced the groundbreaking discovery of the eastern section of Jerusalem's Iron Age wall. The wall stretching along the eastern slope of the Kidron Valley was uncovered in the city of David. And it goes on to tell you that it was built during the time of Hezekiah and how it verifies and authenticate the biblical account. So when you hear people say, oh, the Bible is made up, it's false, it's fake, it's ain't, you know many artifacts there exist that validate everything we see in the scriptures? Tons of them. Tons of them. All right. Let's see. Let's stop that. It also goes to Hebrew to English translation chart, which I thought was dope, and give you certain words that are in Hebrew that are not perfectly translated over into the English and what that means and what that entails. It also gives you a survey of the book that you're about to read. Let me show it to y'all. People ask me all the time for where should I start? I mean, a lot of things that I share resources, this encapsulates a lot of them, right? So here, this gives you the survey where it goes into date and author, the literary setting, the key concepts, okay? It has also things like this, the vault and water above, like the brother asking about the flat earth. It's explaining to you how the world was viewed from the people of that time period. Okay. All right. And it goes in like there's tons of content in here. It goes into the Hebrew calendar and selected events right here. So it has all these breakout factoids that it just goes into, whether it's illustrations, charts, maps, whatever case may be. I mean, it's phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. I love this Bible, man. All right. Not the way you love a person, obviously, but I cherish it because it's wonderful, man. It's excellent. All right. Now it also has a New Testament section as well. Like here in Matthew chapter 2 gives you a breakout on Herod the Great and gives you a little bit of biography on him and his temple that he built. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, look, this is the best start. You can get this for $32 off of Amazon. $32. This book is it should be worth thousands of dollars, man. Thousands of dollars. I've not come across a lot of study Bibles like this one. You know what I'm saying? And in the back, there's appendices in the back and maps of all kinds and indexes and, you know, just a whole bunch of stuff, man. I mean, it even gives you a glossary. Check this out. It gives you a glossary. So if you're looking for a particular theme in the text, depraved, the lights, curtain, symbol, curse, it outlines for you where to go in the scriptures for that particular theme. This is a phenomenal book. And again, what I'm here to do, Divine is here to do, is to teach you how to teach yourself. All right. All right. So let's see. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna step away for 1 second, fam. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. All right. So they do have 3 translations on it. They have the KJV, the NIV, and the NRSV. Okay. All right. Now, also, when I did this session again, if you're on Patreon, you're gonna see the session up. I might try to post it after this, so that way it's there on the Patreon available. Our Clubhouse session that we had on yesterday, which was phenomenal. And then I was also going into translation, how translations are done, etc. You know, translation helps and everything. Shout out to Mother Creary in the building, Mother Sandra Creary in the building. Shalom to you, sis. Bien wise, shalom, shalom. Let's see. Is that everybody? Let's see. All right, let's see. So, sis, I've heard of that, but I haven't studied in depth into that. So I don't want to speak on anything that I'm uncertain of. But yes, I've heard of that. I just haven't researched anything about it. So, but I will look into it. Thank you for the heads up, sis. All right. Cool. That's awesome. And chosen one. Yeah, I think that's the vibe right now. Shout out to the Bible and Me. What's the name of that book? I'll show it again. It is the Cultural Background Study Bible. Bring into life the ancient world of Scripture. All right. Let's see what you're talking about. Probably not, my brother. I highly doubt that the calendar model that we utilize here lines up with anything that I've seen yet from academia. Let's see. You said page 134. I don't see it on 134. Sure, it's page 134. Dre. I'm glad you got it. You Taylor. Yeah, Jordan's condensed. NIV is really a good translation, actually. Matter of fact, if you read the preface, they'll give you the approach to translation, and on top of that, the individuals involved, they had a committee of people. They call it the New International Version because they got English speakers who know Hebrew and Greek, who are experts in Hebrew and Greek from around the world, to come together as a committee to do this translation, right? And a committee is there for checks and balances so that no one particular bias is used in the translation of the text. All right. But if you look at the background of some of these people who was responsible for the translation, these are people that are Semitic scholars, Greek scholars, ancient Near Eastern scholars, people that put a lot of work in their realm of study, a lot of work. That's why you always research. Look up the preface to understand the approach to the translation, and also look up the committee, the individual people that make up the committee. All right. And learn about their background. These are a lot of phenomenal people that came together to help with this translation. A lot of people don't know the history of that, but it is what it is. All right. Oh, you listen to the audio Bible? So we're putting up Exodus next. Genesis of the audio Bible is available. You can have an audio Bible with that's narrated by Black actors and actresses. All right. That is in the entertainment industry. They actually narrate the text. You also have orchestral music in the background, ambient sounds in the background. And it's a holistic experience when you listen to that audio Bible. All right. All right. Yeah, I didn't see it on page 134 on Yeti Hebrew Dre. So we might have different, if you have a different translation, then it may not be on the same page. All right. You said for Exodus 13. Let me take a look at it again. Oh, you talking about this one? It's on page 130 for me. You talking about this one right here? This one, the one I showed earlier or mentioned earlier? If you're talking about that, then no, that's not the same. All right. All right. So lifted, I had my mods drop the videos in there. Capital punishment, human sacrifice for the atonement of sin in the Bible, and are all sins created equal? All right. Those are the two lectures that I gave where I give my position on that. All right. So if you get a chance, you want to go and check those two videos out. Okay. Mods, can you please post the videos one more time in there? Oh, so Mother Query, you have to email naturalpathtoeden@gmail.com. If you have haven't gotten a response yet, you have to email naturalpathtoeden@gmail.com. All of those recent requests that we're getting in are being honored, and we're setting up appointments to speak. We send you a link to our intake queue software so we can capture your data, and from there we can assign you to a consultant, and then we can have somebody dedicated to work with you. Okay, you are a family member. Okay, so I'll put the email address in the chat, and then I'm going to display it on the screen. That's it right there. Naturalpathtoeden@gmail.com. Okay. Shout out to Sister Nisi's PC. Shalom, sis. Shout out to my brother Rodney Frederick, said, which is the better translation, NIV or NRSV? I prefer the NIV over the NRSV. All right. The New Revised Standard Version comes from the Catholic Church. All right. I know some of y'all have biases toward the Catholic Church, but that's more representative of a newer translation of the Catholic Church in response actually to the ESV. Very interesting history when you learn about the translations. All right. Danielle Williams, it's the Cultural Background Study Bible, bringing to life the ancient world of Scripture. So one thing that you're going to get when I teach, and again, this fall, I plan to go back to doing my lectures again. All right. Because the congregation I was going to, they're looking to band together again. They had disbanded because of COVID, but they're looking to band together again in late August, early September. So I'll be doing lectures again in the fall, like I was doing previously before COVID hit. And that's the reason why I didn't really do no serious lectures, because I prefer to do it interactively when there's a crowd there. Like I like teaching like that. It's a totally different than sitting in front of a computer screen and a camera and talking, and there's no real active feedback, right? Zoom is not the same thing as in person. So I kind of held back and said, let me do something different that's needed for the ministry in the interim, so that when I go back to lecturing, you know, I can hit on all these topics. So many things that y'all wanted me to lecture on. Some will be mentioned in our Death to Dogma series. And some may come out on Freestyle Friday. So some stuff I might teach on our Sabbath messages. But if you really want like in-depth lectures, you got to wait to the fall when we redo our lectures again. All right. BNY, he said, yes, I missed those. Like, yeah, people kept all the time, Divine, we're going to do lectures again, man. Yo, I have tons of lectures already there from the past 6 years. So many lectures that'll keep you busy if you're brand new to the channel for anything that I haven't even done yet. Tons of lectures on here on various different subject matters. All right. So just go into the archives and check it out. All right. Ebby Knowledge says Catholic was before Protestant, though. Yes, it was. But I'm talking about as far as the translation approach. All right. That's what we're talking about. So Darak Yasharal, the NKJV, it attempts to modernize the KJV. So if you like the KJV style, then I would say go get that. But if you want something that's an easier read, the NIV is probably going to be the best bet. All right. God the Mother on top of the Trinity. Who are you referring to? I've heard of God the Mother. I mean, the Queen of Heaven is mentioned in the scriptures. And some people believe in the Trinity and that God the Mother is the Mother, the Father, and the Son. Right? That's some people subscribe to that Trinity. So, you know. Yes, Ashiko says he's been going back through our past lectures. All praise to the Most High. Right. All right. So let's transition. At this point, family, we're at an hour and 34 minutes. So what I'm going to do is put the link out there. If any haters in here, you can definitely jump on here and, you know, give me some work, persuade me, or whatever the case may be. Bring forth your grievances. All right. Anybody on here outside of that want to have a discussion on a particular scripture? Or whatever the case may be. I like the dichotomy of dialogue, right? When there's two juxtaposing positions and we're able to engage and bring clarity through a constructive build, right? I like those types of things. Okay, so I'm gonna put the link in the chat. So if any of the trolls are still out there, or the haters are still out there, or the people who disagree or have an ought for whatever reason, the link will be in there. All right. I think somebody's posting a scripture. I'll probably address that. I've seen several people put scriptures out there. All right, so the link is there in the chat. We're going to do another 30 minutes, and then I'm out of here. So I can go and post the Clubhouse video up on Patreon. Might do a pop-up Clubhouse guest appearance, or might do my own room. We'll see if it's not too late. And then go from there. I'm trying to get some rest. I had a long day today. I had 2.5 hours of sleep. I got up and I napped a few times, not because I wanted to, because my body was just tired. I napped a few times, but I want to catch up on some sleep and just unwind. I had a really long day. And as you can see on social media, Patreon, I've been busy posting stuff, and I would love to be that busy every day, but my schedule is really, really crowded. So sometimes it can be difficult. Shout out to Feed the Spirit in the building. Shalom. My brother Freddie Jackson. Shalom. What's going on, King? Watch the old lectures over again. You'll probably pick up something you missed the first time, family. Thank you, my brother. That's definitely the truth. All right. So my brother Jordan's Cadet, that's a fact. I'm not gonna lie about that. But that was the older version. The new revision, I don't know if you looked at this, is based on the newest revision. They shifted around certain people that they've consulted in regards to the translation. All right. So again, my key thing is, if I see a person's agenda in the text, then we have to kind of question it. However, this is a critical edition text, which means there are footnotes. So anything that may seem like is disagreeable or whatever to the text, you can go back and you can examine it, all right, for yourself. All right. So this is why I encourage people to learn the original languages, so you can go back and fact check the translation. But don't judge the translation from what you see on the surface. You must understand the translational and interpretative approach to why certain things was there. All right. Marietta Hebrew Drew, I don't know. I was not there. Wasn't there in his bedroom. I don't know. That's not something that I contemplate on or I even care about. I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, Mother Query, yes, I haven't done one in about 2 months. But my schedule is becoming more manageable. So I'm going to try to do them on Sundays and premiere them for the Sabbath instead of trying to do it Fridays after Freestyle Friday. Because after Freestyle Friday, I'd be worn, man. I'd be tired. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. It takes a lot to do this show, especially when you have people in there that just irk you and just drain every nerve, and you have to exercise as much patience to deal with them. So I'll be doing those on Sundays. Scripting them out, recording, editing, and uploading them on Sundays to premiere on the Sabbath, because I know a lot of y'all ask me to keep up with the Sabbath messages because it helps some of y'all. So I want to make sure that I can do my best to commit to that. All right. I agree. That's why parallel versions exist, Jonas Cadet. And that's why interlinears exist. You can get them from an Accordance Bible study software, Logos Bible study software, which, by the way, you can get from our Patreon. You get the paid versions, or Blue Letter Bible and BibleHub.com. Use their interlinear as well as their parallel Bible section. All right. And Ebony Knowledge is okay. Remember, I told you, pick up this book, English Grammar to Ace New Testament Greek, and English Grammar to Ace Biblical Hebrew, which will help you with the Hebrew. All right. Our classes, we will be touching on Hebrew in the classes, but it's not a Hebrew class because we talk about a whole bunch of other things. All right. But Hebrew is mentioned in the class, but the focus is not on the language. The language is one of many components that make up our holistic research paradigm. But on our Patreon, we do have biblical Hebrew classes for beginners. So if you want the biblical Hebrew classes for beginners, it is on our Patreon. All right. At the $20 tier, it is on our Patreon. All right. All right. So Andre Waivers. So what I can do, my brother, is get you in touch with Moray Milton Carnes, and he can assist you with that. So email me, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. I'll get you in touch with him, and you can speak with him. He can assist you with that. All right. He has a little bit more bandwidth of time to assist with that than I do. All right. And the last thing, Lifted, because I see we have a guest. Lifted said, Brother Divine, what's your stance on Messiah regards to Isaiah 43:11 and 45:15? And do you have any videos as well? So in regards to my stance, in regards to you saying Isaiah 43 and 45 and 15, in those lectures, I touch on some of that in those lectures that they shared in here. All right. So my position in regards to Yeshua Bar Yosef, I believe in a historical character, Yeshua Bar Yosef, not the one created by Orthodox Christianity, and his purpose, what he came here to do. When you go and you watch those lectures, my brother, Lifted, take some time on the Sabbath, watch those lectures, and you'll have all the details you need in regards to my position on that. Okay. All right. Luke 12:51 says, Truth says the logo software on Patreon is no joke, very helpful. Yes. And I'm continuously adding to it, constantly adding more and more paid material. So you have more resources and tools to enhance your studies. All right. All right. So with that being said, let me go ahead and open up the floor. Yes, I agree, Hakodesh. I agree, my brother. I agree. No problem, Yeti Hebrew Dre. No problem. All right. All right. So let me go ahead and add laws of gardening to the show. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself, your cause, or whatever you want to put forth. You have the floor.
Hello, can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing wonderful. I have no complaints, my brother. How are you?
All right. Like I said, just to let you know, my name, I guess, on the internet would be Jay Lee. Like I say, ain't trying to hide behind no YouTube name. From Florida. But basically, all I'm trying to say, Divine, is even this word troll, when you get a dictionary, the definition also means, outside of the person on the internet, it also means a person who carefully and systematically search out something. So when we truly understand words, we can get a better understanding. All I'm really trying to do is carefully search out some of your beliefs. And like I posed the question last week, is the new moon based off, or if the Sabbath is based off the moon and the sun, or the Gregorian calendar? Now, I'm not here for that question because you posted the video and kind of already gave your stance. So what I'm trying to say, brother, is that we got to be careful when it comes to teaching, because one has already come and taught. So, and the Bible teach about false prophets and many false prophets going out in his name, his character, his demeanor. So we got to just be careful, Divine. Like you say, not here to troll you. And the crazy thing about it, I tried to reach out to you before, but to no avail. I got a response back and you stopped. But like I say, that's neither here nor there. It's just, as a brother, we all grow. And I think we got to really analyze what we do in our position in the will of God. So that's all I'm saying right now.
Okay, so I appreciate that. You brought up the definition of troll. Which dictionary is that from? The one that you just referenced. And also, when we say troll, we're referring to it based on a connotation as it pertains to social media, which this is, right? So it has a particular connotation in regards to social media. So that's outside of the scope of the context of what you reference as an entry in the dictionary. Which dictionary is that? So I can post it on the screen so people can see that. Because if that's the case, if I call people that, then they should just accept it, right? It's a good thing. So which dictionary is that from, my brother?
I lost my front page, but it's a college dictionary.
Okay. Well, whenever you get that source, you can always feel free to post it in the chat so we can go back over it and view it for ourselves. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. However, anything that you put here on this platform in the form of a rebuke for edification, a challenge, or whatever the case may be, just know that the same is going to come towards you, right? So if you question an ideal, a belief, or a position that I hold, I have no problem addressing any grievance that you may have publicly, because I'm open to being held accountable. However, just know that the scrutiny will be reflected back on the person that is inquiring of me. So as long as you're okay with that, then we can have a build. It can be constructive, and we can edify those who are listening, as well as hold each other accountable as brothers in this walk. Okay?
Yes, sir. And
All right.
like I say, I just my kids kind of rip at my book, so it's Houghton Mifflin or Mifflin College Dictionary.
All right. So what you can do, my brother, take a picture of that and just email it to me, right? On my email when you get a chance. You don't have to be right now because it's kind of late. So that way I have it in my repertoire. I don't have a problem with somebody educating me, informing me about things that I may or may not know. I'm here to grow and to learn. I have no problem with that, right? The thing that I do have an issue with is the points that you made in the chat. You said several things about me in the chat, my brother, and I just want to know, how are you able to authenticate that honestly, right? Because if you're unable to authenticate the things you're saying, then that could be bearing false witness.
Can you bring up some of the things I said to you about in the chat?
You can scroll up to your chat. Matter of fact, those of you who are watching, just copy and paste the brother's comments back in the chat, so that way we can review the things that he said, and that way he can see precisely what I'm referring to. Because you mentioned Christ, right, and emulating Christ, right, and you just said something about people being false prophets. So I don't know if you're intimating that I'm a false prophet, or if that's your position. I have no clue, right? But if you have agreements with me, I'm saying, I know right now you're being very tactful and very respectful by sharing what you shared the way you shared it, but that's not the same energy that we got from you in the chat and on the comments. So I just want to know openly, if you have a disagreement about something that I teach or something that I say, not just generally, but specifically, please bring it to the table and let's talk about it. That's all. There's reason. We can reason about it. So the floor is yours, my brother.
I mean, it's not really tactical. Like I say, I heard your position on the
I said tactful. Tactful. Okay. That means the way in which you engage, how you say things, being sensible of the person that you're speaking to, and the way you're saying. That's what I'm saying. You're very respectful here, which I appreciate. But what I'm saying is the way that you were chatting in the chat and the comments you were leaving on videos left me to think something else is going on that you're not upfrontly sharing right now. So I'm saying any grievance you have with what I teach, I'm open to scrutiny and I'm willing to dive into wherever you want to go to discuss it. All I'm simply saying is if you want to do that type of inquiry, just be prepared to receive the same from me going towards you. That's all.
Yeah, no problem. Like I say, if the full moon is not the new moon, and here's the thing about your video, you say some correct information. It's like you just got to realign your chart. And this is kind of dealing with this calendar, I guess you're getting ready to promote and sell. We don't want to sell the people a lie. So what I'm trying to say, Divine, if you go outside right now, could you tell me what day of the month moon it is according to it by its observation, as you said in the video?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's do this, my brother. All right, cool.
Let's tell me it's out.
All right, cool. So let's do this, right? Let's deal with that point of contention. All right. So it seems that the issue you have with something that I've said is that you don't agree with the moon phase that I say is representative of the pre-exilic Israelite sacerdotal menological model, right? In simple terms, it means in the pre-exilic days from the time of Abraham all the way into the time of 587 BCE right when the Israelites went into captivity, there was a continuity of culture that was maintained by those peoples that was in the land of Canaan, that went into Egypt, and then exited out of Egypt, resettled into Canaan, and then was displaced from out of Canaan, right? The northern tribes into Mesopotamia, the southern tribes into Mesopotamia, right? So when they were in that pre-exilic state, my proposal is that they had a different way that they reckon time than the reckoning of time that they garnered for being in captivity. I did a lecture series in 2016, a 3-part lecture series that's over 7.5 hours, and I give extensive details on my position by combing through and filtering through all of the proposed calendrical models that we use in the Israelite community, and I've showed vulnerabilities and weaknesses in them, and how the model that we constructed is actually the purest according to the pre-exilic reckoning of the text. Now, whatever your position is, I will show you what those vulnerabilities are, what those weak points are, because one of the things that I do in real life is that I'm an IT solutions engineer. So it is my job to look for vulnerabilities in software design and in architecture for enterprise systems. So I apply the same thing when it comes to my studies. I look for vulnerabilities, I look for weaknesses, I look for things that the weight of the evidence does not fall on. So now, if you have an issue in regards to me saying that the full moon brings in the month according to the pre-exilic reckoning of time, according to the Israelite culture, then let us have that discussion. Once we're done with that discussion, then we will move on to one other point of contention that you may have outside of that, and we can address it like brothers. Now, you said you want to talk to man. We're going to do that right now. I'm going to show you the utmost respect. You're my brother. We're going to talk and build. But again, I'm not going to hold back in regards to my position on things. I'm going to be very upfront with my stance on things, but I'm also going to allow you an opportunity to talk and allow you an opportunity to convey your point of view as well. All right. So let's start first with that point of contention. So now you're telling me first you got to establish what your stance is. According to you, what is the new moon from your perspective? Are you there, my brother?
My bad. I'm muted.
Okay.
The first side of light, the crescent.
So you subscribe to the first visible crescent or the FVC.
Now, hold on,
correct?
Divine. I answered your question straight up. You still have not yet answered my question.
What question did I not answer?
I asked you. You said you can tell what day it is by going outside. I want to. You should be able to tell me what month and day we're in.
Okay. Would you like me to answer that for you, my brother?
Yes.
Okay. So the first reckoning time comes in with the full moon ushering the first day of the first month of the pre-exilic calendrical year. Okay. So from that first moon, we count all the way until we get to where we're at today. You count the moons, which bring in the month. And if you want to know at what point during that month you're in, you look at the phases of the moon. Moons go from dark to full, full to dark, and there are gibbouses and crescents in between, right? And this can give you an estimated gauge in regards to what part of the month you're in. So right now, I'm not going to walk outside right now and look at the moon. I'm just not going to do that right now, because where the moon is situated at, in accordance to my house, I'd have to go all the way outside, look, and come all the way back. I'm not going to do that right now, right? However, what I can do is show you something abstractly to give you an idea of how we reckon this. Now, like I said, this calendrical model that I'm talking about, we've been promoting this since 2016. This is not nothing new we're doing. We also had a calendar we put out last year in 2020. So this is not something new that we're in venturing on or endeavoring in, right? So I'm going to show you on your screen. I showed it earlier, but I'll show it to you again so you can see what it is that I'm referring to, okay? Is that okay with you? Does that work? And then I can explain to you where we're at in regards to what day of the month. I'm assuming you're saying that's what you're talking about, the month or the day of the week.
Yes, just month.
Okay, so let me bring it up on the screen.
Because
let me bring it up
like
on the screen.
The Bible says the first month and the 14th day. I'm looking for you to tell me something like that concrete.
Yeah, for the first month and the 14th day, that is in regards to
No,
Passover.
I'm looking for you to tell me numbers of when you see. You should be counting anyway. See, when you said what you said, and you don't even have to go out. If you're properly counting as the Most High said, you don't have to go out. You can just tell me. So I'm looking for
Okay.
you to
So,
explain what today is according to
so
the month of the year and the day
all
of the
right.
week.
No problem. No problem. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you a visual so you can understand while I'm saying it, because I don't think you grasp the approach that we're taking. I don't think you grasp it, because if you did, the way you question, your line of questioning would be much different. Okay. So let me show you here on the screen, right? You see this here on the screen that I have in front of you right now? Do you see this? A lot of our people are visual
Yes.
learners, right? So I have to show this on the screen so that people can follow me. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier, if you was listening, I mentioned earlier that the numbers that you see at the top represents the overlay of our pre-exilic Israelite reckoning of time. Okay. And then what you see with the numbers at the bottom is your Gregorian dates. So today is the 31st. Okay. So the 31st will be right here, which is day 7. You see that? Day 7 of which month? Month 5. This is day 7 of month 5. You see that? You see that right here, my brother, on the screen?
Um, yeah, I see a made up, created image of a
Yeah.
calendar.
So
Yeah.
it's called a visual representation of something that I can tell you orally. But I'm showing you visually so that you can understand where it's situated, where it's fixated, and also for the edification of the audience who may also have the same question. So there's no confusion. So that's what it is. I answered your inquiry. We're on the 5th month and the 7th day. Okay. So in pre-exilic times, the 5th month had no name of the month. It did not have a name of the month until they went into Babylonian exile. Now, if you can find where they're using different names for months, like Adar, Tishrei, Nisan, if you can show me those names prior to their captivity, then I stand corrected. But I've combed through the entire text and have not found it. So then I would have you to answer for me. What name would you give this month? Month 5 of your calendar, what's its name?
Its name is 5.
So you call it 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you call the second month in your calendar system? What's this name?
The second month.
You call it the second month? That's erroneous. It has a name.
It has a number too.
It has a name. You can show me where it says it's the second month of the year, or if it's called by its name.
I could easily show you where even the Most High says when you miss the Passover in the first month, he said you keep it in the second month on the 14th day.
And the second month has a name.
Yes.
They also call it a
And
name.
it also
in the
says
scripture.
second month in the scriptures.
But it has a name as well. Are you aware that it has a name?
Are you aware that it says second month as you thought
Yeah,
it did?
it's a second month, but it also has a name. So if you're simply just calling it the second month, that is not fully representative of the pre-exilic reckoning of time, because they actually gave that month a name, because you can put the Passover in the second month. So there's a way to identify it with a name to make it different from the first month. So it has a name.
Oh, I
That's
know
important,
that.
my brother. I'm telling you, that's very important.
See,
as we go through this conversation.
I tried to start off the conversation by getting in definitions, because you're a definition man. The definition of name is not the pronunciation, it's the characteristics, the way.
It's all of
It's
it based on
what
context, my brother.
produces. Hold on. It's what is producing at the second month. It's what produces at the first month. This is what gives its name characteristics. This is what separates the months. See, the name says laws of gardening. You might want to garden a little bit more.
I do, my brother. By the way,
your countertop garden ain't gonna be culturally.
You want to see outside? You want to see what we doing outside of my house? I'll make sure I'll show it to you. How about that?
I would love to see the
Wait. Slow down, my brother. That's why I'm saying, if you're going to say something, stop making assumptions unless you have all the data. The scripture says you cannot speak on something unless you're an eyewitness. Have you been to my house, my brother? Yes or no? And there's a reason why I mentioned countertop gardening, because everybody cannot afford to get a house with a huge front yard and a huge backyard, my brother. That is why I'm promoting in-home gardening. That's why I'm promoting it. So there's a purpose behind me showing that, my brother. I've done gardening before, tons of times, my brother. We actually have several farms out here in Atlanta. Why don't you reach out to them and ask them if I've been on those farms before?
Great. No, I'm about
hold on. You're doing too much assumption. You have not been here in order for you to validate anything you're saying. So maybe you want to stay away from that, because I'm not saying to you, or when you acting like you're gardening and that's just a picture. I don't know you, so I cannot make a call. Let's stick on the topic, my brother. So talking about the second month, the text referenced the second month in regards to the Passover and in regards to the month being called Ziv. That's the name of the second month, is Ziv. And it's called that for a reason. What does the word Ziv mean in regards to the second month, my brother?
My brother, to be, I kind of thought we was kind of going back and forth. You had asked me what was the name of these months, and I answered calling them by numbers. Like I say, I don't know if you hear me about when I say the name, the characteristic, you know this to be true. And like you say, this is one of your wrongs or grievances, I guess I have, because you pronouncing Jesus' name, but not taking on his character, his way, is okay to call on the name of Jesus, to invoke. Call means to invoke the characteristic of Jesus. Your concept of name is too concrete. It needs to become more abstract. So as you sit here and call out these names, I told you already, these names of these months deal with this characteristic of what's growing. So as you sit here and tell me the names, you're going to mention stuff dealing with the gardening.
So
I don't know where you're getting with this.
So let me stop you there. So first of all, you're not telling me nothing right now that I don't know. Lexicons are designed for a reason. A particular word gets its semantic value based on the context. That's how dictionaries works as well, my brother. Dictionaries also has an etymology as well. They also do what's called comparative linguistic analysis, where they look for cognates in other languages to be able to answer glosses in the language of question. Okay, so to call or invoke is one of many terms in the scriptures. Like the word kara means to call or invoke. Name can mean reputation. It could be a proper noun for a thing, etc. It depends on the context. You cannot use one definition and say that's what everything means all throughout the text. That's not true. That's not true, right? There's some essence in what you're saying. Yes, in some cases it does, but that's not the consistency of it. It varies depending upon how it's used in context. The second thing is you also made a good point in regards to the name of the month and how it has to do with, you said, gardening or farming or etc. So what I'm asking you is, what is the name of the second month? Give us the definition and see if it relates to what it is that you're saying right now. That's what I'm saying. Now, I don't call on the name of Jesus, my brother. So I don't know. Maybe you thought I called on the name, but I don't call on the name of Jesus. That's not what I do. Maybe you do that. So maybe that is what you're invoking. That egregore is what you're invoking. I'm not invoking that egregore, my brother. So that's yours. You can have that. That's fine. I don't call on the name of Jesus. So I just want to make sure we're clear with that. Are you understanding that? I never profess to say I call on the name of Jesus.
Brother, this is your problem. You're thinking Jesus, Jesus.
That's not what I said. I said egregore. What is an egregore, my brother?
I have no idea.
Okay. So an egregore is a thought form. A thought form is created based on an idea that a collective group of people adhere to. And over time, because those people give devotion in the form of servitude, in the form of personalization, in the form of whatever attributes they want to give to this particular thought form, that it takes on a life of its own over time. That's an egregore. The name of Jesus Christ has morphed into an egregore. And that egregore thought form is the thing disseminating into the minds of the people and creating what's called drone theology. And that is the thing that drives people. The essence of the establishment of Orthodox Christianity through various councils, patristic sources, and contemporary scholarship in the realm of Christianity. It's called a dogma. That's what programming you have, my brother, simply because you said what you said to me. Now, if you want to look at it historically, because you mentioned in Romans chapter 10 and verse 9, correct? Is that what you're talking about, calling Jesus Lord?
As far as no, brother, it's this one over your head. See,
oh, it went over my head. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm in.
See, and then you say the dogma I'm teaching, then you say I have essence, and then you say the things you're saying about it is true, but it's dogma. Okay, divine. So here's the problem with your calendar. You see that July is right there? The Gregorian calendar is mingled. You see, the problem is if we were to take out the Gregorian calendar, you would have no idea. You're only literally just going off the Gregorian calendar that was already there, searched and put out and printed. You just went back and researched it and tried to line it up and produce something that must have July. It must have August, Augustus, Julius, paganism, Roman Catholicism. You was just mentioning all of this. You was just talking about how we have to have the observation, and you want to bring me a graven image of a picture you created. Thou shalt not make unto thee.
You said graven image?
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Let me write it down so I don't forget. Go ahead.
Please. Yes, graven image. So please, if you could do us, the people, take out the paganism of your calendar. See, this is why I call it numbers, because it's in the Bible in numbers, and I can take out the paganism. I don't have to say Julius Caesar, Augustus. I could say either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the 10th month, in the 7th month. So you got to learn how to take out the Gregorian in your teaching before, like you say, you swatting at gnats and swallowing camels. Go ahead.
Thank you, my brother, for conveying your perspective. No problem. You said graven image. I don't know what you're talking about when you say graven image. It's clear you don't know what graven image is. When Sister Boom Shakalaka came onto this channel, me and her had a dialogue. I broke down what a graven image is. So for you to say that anything you see on my screen right now is a graven image, you are not telling the truth. And there's no way you can validate that from the scriptures, period. That's number one. Number two, you mentioned the term paganism. A pagan is a country dweller. It receives its connotation as one who is heretical because the people at that time in the Roman Empire, the pagans were the ones that said they wanted to live on the countryside doing homesteading, you know, the stuff that you're talking about, gardening and stuff like that. However, they were being provoked to move into the urban areas and subscribe to the state-sponsored religion. And the ones who chose not to do that were called pagans in a pejorative sense because they did not want to get with the times. They kept with the old religions. So now you're taking this word and its Christian connotation and try to apply it to something that I'm conveying here on the screen. My brother, I mentioned earlier, if you were paying attention, you listen intently, I said we have the Gregorian calendar for the people that want to use this as a civil calendar. What you're saying sounds good and ideal. My brother, guess what? Your entire life is based on a Gregorian calendar because you're in a society that uses the Gregorian calendar. You have a date of birth, and guess what? It's not according to your calendrical date. You have an ID that's not based on your calendrical information. receipts from your transactions in society, that's not based on your so therefore, my brother, what you're saying sounds good in idea on theory, but in reality and actuality, you still live behind enemy lines. And guess what? The order of the day is the civil calendar called the Gregorian calendar. Now, in dealing with the Gregorian calendar, there's a lesson we can learn, because there are other things that are called years in accordance with the Gregorian calendar. You have a fiscal year, you have an academic year, you have a calendar year, you even have an almanac. All of these things are based on various records and times within the same society. The reason why it's there is to make it easier for people to understand the overlay of the pre-existing Israelite calendar on top of or against the Gregorian calendar. It is not dependent on a Gregorian calendar. This is why, no, you haven't even done your research on me before you came on here to speak. I did a 7-hour and 30-minute plus lecture series where I mentioned just that you do not need the Gregorian calendar in order to observe and understand time. My brother, you didn't even take time to research that. See, I don't have any data on you to research, because if I did, trust me, I would be well prepared for this dialogue. But I allow it to be more of a freestyle type of thing where I don't know much, or there's a huge degree of obscurity about the person who's watching me. They have the advantage to go back and look at my material to question me on things that I've put in the public record. I don't have that same advantage when it comes to you, because I don't know anything about you, my brother. I don't have any data information or anything about you. I can only judge based on what you say. That's what you mentioned. You don't need the Gregorian calendar for a pre-exilic Israelite sacerdotal methodological model to operate. This is one of the basic tenets and major premise of me proposing this calendrical model. I've said this every year that I've ever taught on the calendrical system. And if you watch any video I did over the past 6 years where I talk about the calendar, I say just that. So my brother, you are the one that's straining out of that, not me, because you are simply misinformed. You're assuming too much on this conversation, and it's looking bad, because we cannot really build if you keep assuming things and you don't have enough data or enough research behind the person that you are challenging to even affirm or deny what it is that they're claiming. And the last thing you said is that you said there's Gregorian in my teaching. I don't know what you mean by that. There's no teachings of the tenets or dogmas of Pope Gregory XIII that is in anything that I teach or I share. If it is, please cite what video and at what time that I share the same tenet of belief that Pope Gregory XIII had put forth that I also have in my teaching. You have the floor, my brother.
All right. Yeah, let's just go ahead and straight shoot. In the month of Bib, what fruit were the Israelites looking for? Or what were they harvesting?
It wasn't fruit that they were looking for.
I said,
it was
what were they
cereal grains. I'm
harvesting?
answering your question. It was cereal grains, barley and wheat. You also have spelt and flax as well. Matter of fact, I even produced a book called The Flora and Fauna in the Bible. Have you read that book yet, my brother? It's an excellent book. If you need it, I can email it to you.
No need.
Okay, cool. So that's what it was. It was the wild variant of those.
Was 5 months ago. When does barley produce?
Barley produces after the wintering rains have gone in Israel. So typically that happens in about middle of March, going towards late March is when you have your barley, your wild barley variants. Now, there are different species of barley, so it's not just one variant. You got to tell me which variant you're referring to and what geographic location of this wild variant is at in the land of Israel. Which one are you talking about? Near the Negev, the one closer towards the Jordan, the one that's in the Central Hill countryside, the one that's towards the coastal plains? Which wild variant are we referring to when we talk about barley? There's several variants, my brother. Please give us the scientific name of the variant, and we go ahead and look together to see at what time of the year that it is harvested in the wild. You have the floor, my brother.
Yeah, you already kind of killed yourself. What does barley needs to become ripe or harvest ready?
When you say what it needs, what do you mean what it needs? As far as nutrients in the ground? Are you talking about the climate?
As far as nutrients in the ground, no. Barley needs to dry out. Okay, barley must dry out.
My brother, that is how it ripens. It gets dry. That's how
I know. I'm talking and you cut me off.
You're not talking to somebody who does not know this, my brother.
Brother,
I've actually
you
harvested
just
myself.
talked
Wait,
until I
slow
had
down,
the
slow down.
floor,
Like,
and next
check it.
thing you know, I say
My
Barley
brother,
trying, you
my
trying to
brother,
take over.
my brother. I did a whole live stream on this, my brother. I've
Oh my
posted stuff on
goodness.
social
I
media.
thought I
You
had the
asked me,
floor. You're not a man of
my
your
brother.
word.
No. You had the floor, but I'm going to stop you for a second. This is becoming a very redundant conversation because you are asking me about stuff that I've already posted, I've already discussed, and I'm trying to find out what is your point of contention. Aviv literally means green in the ear. This has to do with the point of the stalk when it is ready to be harvested by observing the color, how brittle it is, also the root of the stalk as well, the location where it's grown, and also the moisture content that's in the atmosphere. All these things have a bearing on it, hence why you cannot harvest it during the wintry rainy season. It has to be done afterwards because the climate changes, my brother. So I don't know if you want to get into cereal grain. Listen. If you want to get into cereal grain science and we will go into the composition of these grains from a phytochemical perspective and talk about its botanical constituents, I can go there with you. Let's do it. Come on, tell me what you want to discuss.
Do I have the floor? Calm down.
I'm going to get
I said one thing about barley being dry, and you just exploded.
Slow down, my brother. Slow down. There's also a video series that we have on our Patreon. It's called Bible Land as
Barley you
Classroom.
harvest when it's brown and dry.
Sir, I'm going to mute you for a second. So anybody here who wants to understand this, because now the brother's talking about its coloration as far as it being brown. Anybody that wants to know details about what we're talking about, I have a book that I posted called Flora and Fauna in the Bible. If you want to go back and look at these cereal grains, there's also a science and botany or botany called cereal grain science. And it will tell you about the things that the brother's talking about right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring a textbook out on this that I have in my repertoire while the brother's talking so we can look at something objective outside of our perspectives. And number 3, I've posted this on social media several times. I'm trying to find out why the brother is interrogating me about something that I've already shared before when we're talking about the reckoning of the moon. I don't know how we veered off into this when we talk about the reckoning of the moon, but I said looking at the harvest grains, the cereal grains, is one of the ways to know what time of the year it is. So when you walk outside in ancient Israel, you're looking to see the grains, the cereal grains, how they're growing. Are they ripe? Are they brittle? Matter of fact, let's get scripture for that. And I'm gonna let the brother talk again. I had to just pause you for a moment, my brother, because I was talking. You should never overtalk the host. That's like coming to somebody's house and arguing with them. You don't have the right to argue with somebody like that in somebody else's house. And they say, hey, look, chill out. You respect that or you leave their house. That's how it works. That's how I was raised. So I'm muting you for a second, not a disrespect, but you're doing too much over talking on me. If I'm speaking, I'm the host, let me speak. I will give you the chance to speak again. So I'm going to give everybody a textbook on cereal grain science so everybody has it so that they can see it, number 1. And number 2, let me go ahead and bring up scripture because I'm sure he subscribes to scripture and we'll get into more detail on what the scripture says. Let's go to Genesis. I'm going to pick up the scripture in Genesis so we can look at this. And I'm going to unmute you after this, my brother. I'm going to let you speak and I won't interrupt you. All right? Excuse me. Let's go to Exodus, not Genesis. Go to Exodus. We're going to pick this up here and we're going to go into it ourselves and see what's going on. Okay? Because I guess the brother doesn't, maybe he's not familiar with my background. Maybe he doesn't know that I've actually done this type of sowing and harvesting before. Because like I told him, this farms out here in Atlanta and Georgia. Maybe he hasn't seen that. Maybe I should show him a video of me in the past. Matter of fact, I'll probably post that on the Patreon. And if the brother really wants to see, he can go to the Patreon and see it. Where I'm actually doing the things that he's talking about. Like I said, he has not done enough investigation on me to make all of these assumptions about me. He has no clue what I know about cereal grain science. But check it out. Let's go to Exodus, and I'm going to bring up the scripture for everybody to see so they know what we're talking about. I'm going to put things within its proper perspective, all right? So let's go here to Exodus. Let's go to chapter 9. I'm shared on the screen so y'all can see. Exodus chapter 9. And again, I don't even know what the point of contention is. I guess the brother's just questioning me on what I know about cereal grain science, but I'm gonna bring the textbook out while he's speaking so we all can see it together, so he can know what my point of reference is from experts who do this all the time, that I've had correspondence with. That's how I learned about this, right? And I did all that research before I did my lecture in 2016. I did a whole 6 to 8 months of research on this from people who are experts in the field out here in Georgia, because they do grow it out here. So let me read this scripture for y'all so y'all can see. All right, let me blow it up because it might Might be small. Let's blow it up. All right, here it is. All right, and then I'm going to read it right here, okay? It says in verse 27, then Pharaoh sent and called Moses and Aaron and said to them, this time I have sinned. The Lord is in the right, and I and my people in the wrong. Plead with the Lord, for there has been enough of God's thunder, and hail. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. Moses said to him, as soon as I have gone out of the city, I will stretch out my hands to the Lord. The thunder will cease, and there will be no more hail, so that you may know that the earth is the Lord's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you do not fear the Lord yet. Now check out verse 31. The flax and the barley were struck down, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was in the bud. These are all various stages of vegetation in regards to stalk cereal grains. And there's colors involved. There's different shades of yellow. There's different shades of green. There's different shades of brown. You also have to include the spelt and the flax. This is important. So it says, but the wheat and the emmer were not struck down, for they are late in coming up. Now, if me and the brother is having a serious discussion, what I need to ask you, brother, is tell me about the wild variants of barley, wheat, emmer, spelt, and flax that is in Egypt. When this is referenced, what variant it is that we're dealing with, because I posted this on social media. And also I want him to tell me the difference between it and how it grows in Israel. So let's pause for a second. Let's give him back the floor, since he knows so much about this science and he's questioning me on it. And while the brother's speaking, I'm going to go bring up a textbook, and I'm going to read from a textbook outside of mine and his perspective, because he has yet to give us a source. My brother, the floor is yours.
All right, brother. Like I was saying, like you badly represented, trying to say barley in its green state. This is why I know you don't know gardening, because if anybody look up wheat, barley, you harvest it when it's brown. It must
after it's green, my brother. I understand that.
Hold on.
Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead, because you're misrepresenting me too.
Because
Go ahead.
the reason it must be brown, just read your scriptures. Unleavened bread is beaten down. When you really garden, understand something must be dry. Then you beat it down into a powder. Then you make your unleavened cakes. They came out in the dry season because barley must have the heat to dry out. It grows in the rainy seasons that you're mentioning. That's what I'm trying to say, brother. You have some truth. You just have to realign. This is why I'm telling you this, because when you understand that unleavened has to be dried out and beaten, you understand, like you said, in the rainy winter, that's when it's green, it's growing. Then winter transitions from spring. And that's when Christ said, when you see things springing forth, know that summer is nigh. Summer is when barley dries out. Anybody can Google harvesting barley and you will see it in July. You will see it in the summer hot months, the hot times for it to dry. So this is why I brought up the gardening, to lead you down this path, because what I'm trying to say, when you actually garden and understand how you harvest, meaning produce, even gather certain crops, it all aligns up. So all I'm saying, bro, like you say, that's why I tried to talk to you in private. I could have easily talked to you about gardening, all this in private, because the reason I shut it out, I don't have to do this. I'm for the people's learning. Like I say, please let me know if I'm bringing out anything that's wrong. Go ahead.
All right, my brother. I don't know why you're picking a point of contention. I just mentioned to you that after the wintry rains have passed, that is when you look for, when it's green in the air, to know that it's about to be ripe for harvesting. That is what I said. So all you're doing is confirming what I said. The purpose of examining it
is not right if you're a gardener.
The purpose of observing it when it's green in the air is so you can see at what stage it's in and what to anticipate over the next month or so. This is why the Israelites had a feast called Shavuot, and a feast called First Fruits. And it's based on the harvest of the cereal grains in that region. They grow slightly different in different atmospheres, my brother. So let me ask you a question, right? How much rainfall does Egypt get?
I don't know. Could care
Okay.
less.
So if we're going to look at the scripture from when it's first mentioning these grains, and we're going to go here into Exodus chapter 9, you know they're in Egypt, right? They're not in Israel.
What does that mean? The first month is the first month everywhere.
No, because
remember you mentioned the first month everywhere.
My brother, slow down for a second. You remember when you mentioned about that the temperature has to be dry? Remember you mentioned that?
Yeah.
If you realize that Egypt does not get a lot of rainfall, my brother, that means they are riper earlier than what it is in Israel, my brother. But maybe you didn't take that into account, and that's okay. I'm going to back off, because if we are growing those particular items here in America, everything is different. The soil content is different. The nutrient is different. The climate is different. The atmosphere is different. The way it processes chlorophyll by means of photosynthesis is much different. Because what we see as the grain is the end stage of the actual plant itself. It's about to die after the grains is there and it's plucked for you to eat, whether it's a bird taking it and bringing it somewhere else, or in hopes that it falls somewhere and it gets planted. This is the end stage of it, my brother. But when you study it before you get the stalk and the grain, it's a much different plant. It behaves much differently. And all the time, you may not get a harvest depending upon environmental changes as well. And also, you need to understand by looking at it before it even begins to grow a stalk, when it's ready to bolt. And you should know what bolting is, my brother, because you do gardening, right? That's the bolting stage. So there's a whole process that goes along before the bolting stage. So check it out, my brother. This is why what I'm seriously trying to do is situate you into Egypt's time. Not only have I done sowing and reaping of this particular crop here in America, it's much different than what it is in Egypt and in Israel. And Egypt and Israel is much different on how it's harvested than what it is here today and amongst each other. You have to look at this holistically. You're not teaching me anything on this. You're saying the same sentiments that I share. I'm just trying to simply situate it in its chronological and geographical location and understand what variant we're talking about so we can be more precise. So what I got to ask you is, if you've ever sown and harvested barley or wheat here in America, what variant is it? There's different types of seeds out there, my brother, that represent different species of that particular genus. Can you please tell us which species it is that you've grown, and let us know if it's the variant that grows wildly in Egypt, or if it's the variant that grows wildly in Israel, or if it's from somewhere else. Because remember, all these events are taking place in Egypt and Israel. So you have the flow, my brother. And then while you're speaking, I'm bringing up the book right now so people can see the book and a scientific article on cereal grain science in case they want to do further research to validate the things that we are speaking about. All right. So go ahead, my brother. You have the floor.
All right. Thank you. Like I said, once again, you can't be fooled by the double speak, what's going on here. When you understand that the first month of the Hebrew calendar is the first month all across the world, when you understand that the 10th month of the Hebrew calendar is the 10th month all across the world, your location does not matter. See, here's the problem. Just because you're up north, when you understand gardening, spring is still spring. Snow doesn't always fall at the same time. You don't always have the same conditions. You don't always have a heavy snow in New York that floods it every winter. See, what you're trying to do with these adverbs, double speaking, you're trying to lose the people thinking Israel and Egypt and locations has anything to do with it. If anybody that grow corn, you understand corn is a hot crop. That's anywhere around the world. It's a wheat. It's in the barley family. It's all a hot crop. It's related to grass. You cannot fool the people with what you're saying. You see, when you actually study what's outside, a hot crop is a hot crop. And here's the thing. When you even deal with what you want to call Egypt and Israel, it has what they call a Mediterranean climate, which, because it's in a mountainous area, it also has what I'm in Florida. It has a subtropical climate. That's all that means. I'm in Florida. That means I have the same pretty much climate as Israel and Egypt.
That's not
I
true. Do
have
you
a
know what
early, that
subtropical
is
means,
true.
my brother?
Hold on.
You saying you're in a
Hold on.
subtropical? That's what you said, my brother?
Yes.
Subtropical? Okay,
Subtropical.
cool. All right, cool. Go ahead,
Yes.
keep going. There's some things you're saying that
Yes.
needs correction, but some things you're saying are true. But keep going.
Like I said, the Middle East has a temperature or climate like Florida. It has a small.
Wait, what? What? The Middle East
like
has the
Florida.
same temperature climate as Florida?
Yes,
Okay.
I just broke
bring
this
up some stuff on
down.
the screen.
Anybody
Now you
can
don't know what you're
Google
talking about, my brother. All right, here we go.
Anybody
Go ahead.
can Google the Mediterranean tropical climate, and it will tell you how it's
Same
snow
climate.
in the mountains, and you in the spring, and you can go to the beach. That's Florida climate.
What part of Florida do you live in, my brother?
I live in Vero Beach, Florida, right next to the beach.
All right. And you've seen snow there? How much snowfall comes
Yes,
there?
I've seen snow here.
How much snowfall do you get a year there? Precipitation.
Come on, man. You know we get 0.001.
Exactly.
It comes
So now compare that.
We don't have mountains. It snows in the mountains in Israel, and the water runs down to the plains.
The reason why it snows in the mountains is because of the atmospheric pressure and the.
I know that,
my brother.
It's not just snowing all over Israel.
So for saying that you can grow this crop anywhere in the spring, that is untrue.
Because I didn't say that. I said it's a hot crop. It grows in hot temperature. I never said spring.
All right, my brother. So remember you made fun of my in-home gardening, right?
Yeah,
Actually, I do experimentation, right? So let me give you an example. You see these plants behind me? You see that?
Yes, sir.
If you want me to zoom in, I can zoom in. Because since you're so good with gardening, maybe you could tell me what variants these are right here, right? But the point is, I'm trying to make is the environment inside my house is not ideal for these things to grow. Why are they growing? I'll wait because one of these things is a wild lettuce and it needs a cooler environment. My house is not the temperature for this particular item to grow in my house. So you explain to me what's going on here then. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because I want you to understand that there's reason why there are different variants based on the evolution of it growing in a particular geographical region, my brother. Do you understand that? I hope you understand that. If you don't understand it, then I just need you to explain why I got Thai basil and red sales lettuce growing here when this is not an ideal environment for them to grow in. I'll give you a couple of seconds to figure that out. And what I'll do just for you, I'll create a garden of wild barley just for you and show you how it can grow in temperatures other than that which is ideal. Okay, so he dropped off. All right, cool. All right, so let's get back to what we were talking about, family. All right, let's go ahead and let's go back. Now, remember, but I just want people to understand, I did not come to attack him. He trolled me in the chat several weeks. He trolled on my comments, and then he trolled in here, and then came on here acting like he was going to be all tactful. And I'm like, no, let's move that mushy stuff out the way. You have grievances. Voice your grievances. Now, remember, I didn't come for him. I only called him out because he was trolling me. Not because I don't attack nobody. But if you're going to talk to me like I don't know what I'm talking about, then now you have another thing coming because then I'm going to ask you questions that I know you can't answer. Now, again, the brother seems like he does gardening. I could tell by some of the things he was saying. I can tell that he knows some gardening, right? The scripture says, the wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous is bold as a lion. I'm not saying the brother's wicked. I'm just saying he left. I don't know why he left. Just like the sister, boom shakalaka, she left. Because when the pressure is turned on, it's a different ball game. Because I'm going to get extremely technical with you. Because you have some people that understand things simply off of empirical knowledge. And then some people that understand that behind the empirical knowledge is mechanical, technical knowledge behind that. I wanted to get into the depths of this. Now, he's right. It is a type of grass. And it's a type of grass that grows a stalk. He's right. But it's not like the grass that grows in my backyard. It's related, but it's not the same exact species. And it's also subspecies where you get your variants. He didn't want to get technical on this, and he didn't want to answer a question. He made fun of in-home gardening, which have saved a lot of people's lives and learning how to grow food for themselves in environments where they cannot afford to do it. So anybody can make fun of me doing in-home gardening. I do experimentation when I do it. I show things to my children when I do it. And shout out to my Isha because she's doing her stuff in our backyard and on our deck. But what I'm simply saying is I do experimentation. So that way I can see how things grow under careful observation based on certain different adjustments that you do to the thing that is growing. So while I'm simply saying, and look, my Isha is killing him in there. But look, check it out. What I'm simply saying is I wanted to ask him, if you understand red cells lettuce, it should not be growing in this environment here. This is not ideal for it. Matter of fact, it should be bolting right now and it hasn't bolted yet. So how does he explain that? Then he's going to say that you can grow this anywhere in spring. Where do you get this from? Who teaches this stuff? So here on the screen, family, just so you can understand the science, because people, again, he may have done some farming. He may have done a little grain farming and stuff himself. He may have done that. But it doesn't seem like he understands things technically. And I could tell because he would have answers for us, right? Here's a book here called Encyclopedia of Grain Science. If you want to understand the cereal grain science, the PDF is right here. I will put it in the Patreon, or you can email me for free and you can learn the science. The brother was saying some things that was right and he was saying things that were clearly wrong. Show me where wild barley grows on the coast of Florida. Where's that at? Hey, wait. Somebody show me where wild barley is growing and wild wheat. Wild. I'm not talking about the type that's domesticated grain. Wild grain. Show me where wild barley and wild wheat are growing on the coast of Florida. I've never seen this before. This is brand news to me. Matter of fact, somebody tell me where it grows in Florida. Where on the coast of Florida can I find wild barley and wild grain? I would love to know where that's at. Somebody please tell me. I'm gonna give y'all a moment. Maybe I don't know. My Isha's from Florida. Maybe she knows where it grows at. I don't know. All my Floridians in here, my Flow Riders in here, please tell me where you can find wild barley and wild wheat, emmer, spelt, and flax growing on the coast of Florida. I'll wait. I'm just gonna take a second. Now remember, family, I'm only turned up because this was somebody that was trolling me for a long time, trying to come and school me about cereal grain science. Really? Are you serious? And then again, I could tell he's done some of that, but he started making these wild assertions. I'm like, bro, where you getting this from? If we're gonna look at it based on where it's grown, the scripture, I was the only one bringing up scripture. He didn't bring out a scripture. Just for the record, he didn't bring out no scriptures. I brought out a scripture in Exodus chapter 9 that explained that. And I asked the brother, how much rainfall is there in this part of Egypt? How much rainfall? Then he says he lives in a subtropical region. Okay, whatever the case may be. Then he says the climate that is in Florida is the same as it is in a Levant. What? I've never seen a desert in Florida. Now, I may be wrong. There may be a desert in Florida. I don't know. Can somebody tell me where there's a desert in Florida? I'll wait. Because I must be wrong. Somebody please tell me where there's a desert in Florida. I'll wait. I've never seen a subtropical or tropical environment that has massive deserts. Normally, if you're near what we call the equator, there's no deserts around the equator. Now, there's mountainous regions there, okay? Deserts, per se, rare. If I'm mistaken, please correct your brother. I just want to know, where's he talking about? I'm trying to understand what the brother's talking about. This is somebody coming on here trying to school me like I don't know what I'm talking about. A lot of times I'm reserved about the knowledge that I have unless somebody tries to play me. Okay? From New York, I knew that from going to ciphers, but I used to freestyle. I used to rap because a lot of times raps get personal. And typically I'll keep things surface, but I'll always have something in the bag if somebody try to get personal and I'll bust up my rhymes. I learned that from growing up in New York. That was our hip hop culture at that time. Right. So I always try to bring something in the past to teach me on my path today, because Yeshua said that if you want to enter the kingdom, you must be as these little children. I had to go back and think how I thought as a child to see if that can humble me enough to understand how to get into the kingdom. But let's go ahead and look at the Encyclopedia of Cereal Grain of Grain Science. And let's see if any of the things the brother's saying can be situated. All right. If it can be fixated in actual science, because he's saying some stuff that is wild. He mentioned the Mediterranean coast. And I said, okay, cool. The coastal plains of the Levant region is ripe to grow stuff. I understand that. Just like the Nile Delta is ripe to grow stuff. But the key thing that we're talking about here is rainfall. Rainfall is important. And why rainfall is the way it is. Why you have huge what's called desertification that's occurring over the so-called Middle East? Why is it occurring there? And in the Negev, do you know how much rainfall they get in the Negev? Very little. But if you go to the central countryside towards the north, they get much more rain. Where are we collecting this grain at? Where? That's why when the text is saying that these items were destroyed, it's because the harvest season in Egypt is sooner than it is in Israel. If the brother took some time to research this, he would know this. But apparently, he wants to make a point. Remember what I said to your family? I said, he asked me about, I guess, when is it ripe or whatever? I said, after the wintry rains. And after the heat comes in, which is during the springtime, going into the summertime. And what the Israelites used to do is ensure that anytime they went into the field and they collected their barley, their wheat, their emmer, their spelt, and their flax, they had something to give at first fruits. Well, first of all, before first fruits, they had something to eat for unleavened bread. When the brother mentioned unleavened bread, guess what? They were still in Egypt. They were still in Egypt. And then they left out of Egypt 40 years in the Transjordan region or the outskirts of Egyptian society, and they were known as Shashu. And then from there, they settled in the land of Canaan. Now they're able to work the ground. When they first came in there, they weren't agriculturalists. You know why? Because they was on the move. They were pastoralists. When they were able to be sedentary, which means settled, then they transitioned to agriculturalists. But they learned agriculture first by living in Egypt. It's that simple. That's all I'm saying. Brothers ain't got to come on here and try to school me. He's over here talking about what does Aviv mean. I said it means green in the air. Matter of fact, let's get a lexicon, because maybe I'm talking out of pocket, because when it's green in the air, guess what? It is not brittle when it's green in the air. But when you see it start to green in the air, it's starting to bolt. That means eventually it would turn browner and browner and browner until it shrivels up and dies. That's common sense to anybody that's observed plants, growing plants. You know these things. It's not rocket science, but there is a science behind it called green science. All right. So with that being said, yo, please stop making me laugh, man. Please stop making me laugh. All right. Look at this. Look at this. Now, this is from somebody, Coco Tawaki Taylor. I think you are in Florida. I wonder if the brother actually understands this from living in Florida. Does he understand this? Does he understand this? That's why I'm asking him, what wild grains of cereals are you growing in Florida? Show me. Just tell me what it is so we can check it and see. Unbelievable. Hopefully he doesn't come back to troll. My brother, if you're listening to this, I love you. No hard feelings, my brother. But I don't know what you tried to accomplish here. You insulted me several times. You made several assumptions. And then you tried to question me as if I don't know what I'm talking about, when I've done thorough research on this and I've done experimentation on my own on things related to this. So I have some understanding, right? I don't know everything, but I can tell you're not the person for me to go to learn the deep things about this type of science. You know some stuff, I can tell. But my brother, you talking about the moon. Well, how do we get from the moon to this? I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know. So in this book and in the article I showed y'all, I will post it on the Patreon, or you can email me and learn. Take some time to read and then experiment. This is the same way where we have all these health gurus that pop up all over the world, especially in Israel and the conscious community. And they say, turmeric does A, B, and C. And you say, wait a second, my brother, turmeric does A, B, and C. Okay, what is, check it out, the mode of action of the particular component in turmeric that has its efficacy on the particular symptoms that you're referring to? You said curcumin, you're right. Well, what is curcumin made of? It has a biochemical structure, and that biochemical structure works in a particular way in order for it to have its efficacy. And there are papers that are written on this. If they don't know it to that degree, they're just going based on empirical knowledge, and they don't understand how it works mechanically. So I would be very leery to take any advice for somebody like that who has not been to medical school, who has not done any lab work, that has done any of those things. Because I have not gone to school to be an MD. I lean on individuals or experts in the field who does. And I leverage that data as a secondary researcher of that particular field in my discussions. Hence why I gotta show y'all sources. Don't believe nothing that I said. That's it. That's all I'm saying. All right. So again, what you say, Coco, Tawaki, Taylor, is basic knowledge for anybody that lives in Florida. It's just basic knowledge. Basic knowledge. Now, maybe I don't know what he's talking about. He didn't give us all the details because he's trying to tell me, if you go outside, would you know? if you look up in the sky, first of all, if somebody knocked me out unconscious and I woke up one day and went outside and I just simply looked for the moon itself, I would have no clue what month we're in. I would have no clue. You know, things that would help me? The constellations. This is why, and the sun. This is why the Most High said he created the sun, moon, and stars, so that we would know signs and seasons and days and years. With the sun, moon, and stars, I can tell you what part of the season we're in. I can tell you that. But with just the moon by itself, I can only tell you what part of the month we're in, and that's it. Oh, thank you. Maisha over there, she pointed it out. There is a gardening group on the KHM One Church app. We have tons of files posted on there, discussions going on in there. I don't know. I was going to ask the brother, since I plan to head to Florida, maybe, I forgot the area he said he was in. Maybe somebody could post the area he said he was in again. I don't think it's along the trip. You said what? Vero Beach? Yeah. Oh, that's other side. Yeah, that's nowhere near where we're going to go. So anyway, I won't be able to go visit the brother unless he wants to come out to where we're going to be at, near Tampa area. But the point I'm trying to make is I just want to see what he's talking about. I'm not saying he's stupid, he's dumb, you don't know what you're talking about, brother. I could tell he knows something, but then he tried to go beyond his scope of knowledge. And he swam into deep waters, and there were sharks out there, and it just didn't work out for him. As you can see, he was pulled in and he's gone. By his own volition, he left. I didn't drop him. And I post the link again in case he's there before I close out the session. That, brother, if you want to come back in and explain yourself, because again, we were simply talking about the moon. Where are you getting at the moon? Unless you're going to tell me how the moon impacts the growth of barley and wheat, we can have that discussion as well. It's right there. All right. So here in the Cereal Grain Science, this book is 1,392 pages. And guess who read all of them? Me. I read all of them. It took me 2 years to go through this. 2 years. I started in 2014 and I finished in 2016, right before I did my lecture. This book was published in 2004. Since then, other textbooks have come out. This is 2021. This book is really old, according to our standards, have come out, but most of it is built on the same science. You see this? Look, barley. See this? I had a whole social media post where I showed the barley that grows in Israel. And I gave a whole book that went into deep about it. See, he asked me about things, technical things. I want to ask him about the soil, right? The soil amount, and the soil amount that you need, the depth of soil, because of the way that the roots grow. I wanted to ask him about the nutrient density of the soil that it needs to grow in, the amount of nitrogen to oxygen ratio in the soil. I want to understand if he knows these things. Knowing it is not simply enough to apply it. Sometimes when you apply it in the wild, it does not reflect the way that you learned it behind the scenes. It takes experimentation in order to know what works and what doesn't work. All right, but there's a whole science behind it. Here it is right here. Plant nutrition. If you want to go into it, check it out right here. The shoots, the tilling, the jointing, the boot, the heading, the ripening. So this is what he was talking about, right? And we're going to see where and what locations are we having here where it's ripe at this point of time, because the late harvest for the wheat, which reflects on our calendar, is also there. Did you know that there's wild wheat and wild barley that grows on its own? And then there's the ones that we interfere and domesticate, and the ones that we seed. And what we do is that we seed it in certain months of the year so that we can get a harvest much later than how it naturally grows. So people who do gardening and you're only doing that, you don't understand the wild variants and how they grow in the wild. You only know the domesticated variants that you're working with. There's wild variants that are not dependent upon you sowing it into the earth. This is why you have late barley, wheat, mostly wheat, not really barley, but wheat harvests, because we seed them. And we seed them accordingly so we have enough food to last us until the fall so we can then to store them. Now, what I was saying, and I think, let me see if the brother came back. I sounded like he came back. Oh, no, he didn't come back. My brother, I'm going to let my brother talk in 1 second. The brother didn't come back. There's a video that I posted on the Patreon. It's called Bible Lands as Classroom. I sat down, me and Maisha sat down and watched that together. We talked about it and everything. Anybody that has my Patreon, please go back and watch that video because they actually go into the stuff that me and the brother was talking about. It showed you right there. And the purpose of that video is to teach you about the Bible from the land of Israel. That's all. So let me go ahead and let you come on, my brother. Go ahead, my brother. You there? Say your thing, my brother. Speak your speech. I can't hear you, my brother. There's no audio. No audio. I still can't hear you, my brother. Yeah, I still can't hear you. You want to drop off and come back? Okay, I'm going to drop you off. Just come back on. All right. Yeah, but it didn't show he was muted from the icon for StreamYard. It just sounded like something was muted on his end, or maybe his mic wasn't activated or something. I'm not sure. All right, let me let him come back on. Now, again, what I'm showing on screen, I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me do it again. You see this right here? Before the effects of different production practices and environmental stresses on the performance of barley can be understood, knowledge of the different growth stages and yield components of barley are needed. Different scales are available for describing the growth of barley, including the Feeks, the Hahn, and the Zadok's growth stage scales. All right. It says components that determine yield in barley are the number of spikes per area, number of kernels per spike, and kernel weight. Stresses during a certain period of the growing season will reduce one or more of the yield components. Factors affecting the number of spikes per area include those that directly affect the number of plants per area and the number of tillers per plant. The number of plants and tillers can be impacted most severely from sowing to shortly before the jointing stage. Factors that can reduce the number of plants per area include sowing rate, insufficient moisture for germination, waterlogged soils, because he said he's in Florida, following sowing that may kill the seed or cause soil crusting, winter killed, weed competition, insects, and diseases. Did he know that there's locusts that are all throughout the Middle East that affect barley production? Now, I'm not even going to go into that. Maybe I'm being too technical. Maybe Divine is being too technical. I'm sorry. All right. The number of tillers per plant can be negatively impacted by excessive temperatures, right? Excessive temperature. That's why I asked him, what variant are you talking about? What is this native environment? Insufficient moisture, insects, and weed competition. So if anybody wants to read this, this is from R.D. Horsley and M. Hochhalter from North Dakota State University, Fargo, North Dakota, USA, 2004. They wrote an entire thing on agronomy. Agronomy, the study of agriculture in the realm of barley that we're talking about. So I just want to know these things because, again, in different regions, you get different yields. All right. And you have to know certain things that are basic that anybody knows, that these types of barley do not grow the same way everywhere on the planet just because it's spring. But whatever the brother was talking about, I don't know what he was talking about. That's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. I don't know. That's what he was saying. Right here, as you can see, it goes into different places where it tells you how it's sown in October, harvest in early May in China. The brother said July and August. Well, in China, did you know that they reap it much earlier in China? Oh, maybe he didn't know that. Okay. It told you over here in Germany. It told you over here in North America. Different places, my brother. They don't grow the same way everywhere. So don't tell me, oh, well, the way we grow here is the same way it grows over there. That's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying. Why are you coming on here and challenging me? You're not an expert in this. I'm not an expert in this. But guess what? I'm showing you expert information on this for everybody to learn. I still can't hear you. I still can't hear you, Jordan.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was on my computer. I guess I don't know. But
yeah, you got the floor.
My word today is very simple. I'm just trying to encourage brothers to yield your mind to the Most High. And when I say that, let me explain thoroughly but simply that I think you put everything that you believe on a table and be ready to scrutinize it, because you can't really grow if you hold on to something that's keeping you from growing. And I was guilty of this too, because I had a lot of strong held beliefs. And a lot of times strong held beliefs really become an excuse to further your education. You think you're better than the next step. And as you notice, like, Ron attracts a lot of these types of folks that they usually struggle with complexity, interconnectedness when it comes to whatever they know. They fill in ignorance with the Holy Spirit and all this stuff, and it's just not worth it. You have to yield your mind, because I feel like, okay, fast prayer, all that stuff is good, but we go to college 4 years, learn a bunch of stuff, and you do it for the practicality of I feel like, okay, fast, a check and all these other things, but we don't really dedicate our brain. You know what I'm saying? Ron knows what I'm saying. And I don't know how I got there, but when I was younger, I just felt like I needed to do more. And I feel like a lot of people, I don't know because you communicate that well to me with everything you know, but people are not walking away with that the way they need to. I think, I don't know, maybe that's my job in life or something, but somebody has to figure out how to show this to people, because too many people come into this and they don't feel like they have to learn. They don't feel like this isn't something, they don't treat it like that. And then they don't walk away with what they're supposed to walk away with, because they think it's just supposed to fall out the sky from the Most High. But I mean, I don't know. That's
somebody did say that the Bible falls from the sky and it updates itself. You did hear those type of proposals, right?
I think
the brother said that the Bible drops from the sky and it updates itself.
I think was that on Clubhouse?
No, that was on here. This was Bo. Remember Bo?
Today?
Remember that? No, not today. I'm saying over the course of our live streams, a guy named Bo came on here and said that the Bible updates itself. Yeah, those are the type of things that people bring up when they don't want to deal with textual criticism and comparing manuscripts to understand why you have certain revisions to certain Bibles, etc. They just said the text updates itself. So I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying these are the things that people make up when there's a gap or absence in understanding on something. And the thing is, they're not coming here to learn. They're trying to teach me. And that's the problem. I'm willing to learn. But if the way you're trying to teach me is the way the brother was trying to do, mind you, he didn't come in here with a good spirit initially because he trolled to get his way here, right? You can even see the comments he left before he even got here. I was amicable with him in the beginning, but I know he didn't come here to be cool. I know he didn't come in here to build like a brother. He had some contentions. And I said, look, just get with it. Don't waste no time. You got the contentions. Just bring it up. Let's talk about it. And then as we started to go on, like I said, he didn't even take time to even watch the material on the subject matter we're talking about. He saw one video I did on Sunday. I said, I got a 7.5 hour entire lecture on the subject matter. Did you watch that? Because if another academic came in here to challenge me, they'll say, yeah, I read your book and on page so-and-so, A, B, and C, you used this, you cited that. And yeah, in the video, you said this on time marker so-and-so. That's how I know, whoa, okay, this is somebody that's paying attention. Let me make sure that I perk up and I give them due diligence for just going out to research the things that I'm saying, not simply what they're assuming, right? So I didn't mean to cut you off, my brother. I was just saying that, to jump on what you're saying. Some people believe that the Bible falls from the sky and that it updates itself. So you go ahead. You got the floor, my brother.
Okay, my last thing, because I didn't really have much to say. Today wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. No disrespect, but because I guess I don't know, maybe today just didn't attract a certain type of trolls that would have gave me something better to say, or maybe it's a different topic. But for me, I think that because I've been thinking a lot about how a lot of things in our lives that we do and hold on to symbolize something, and how I think our relationship with the Bible, it truly symbolizes that, like the raft, and how a lot of folks are just, it's sad because I know I was there. I know there was a point where I just couldn't think about things the way I do now, because I felt like, well, what am I holding on to? You know, I feel like something in this book has to be unquestionable. You have to feel like you have something to stand on before you question everything else, because everyone's critical about the books that are not in the Bible, but with the same manner of criticality is not applied to what they're standing on now. And I'm like, yeah, and we live comfortably like that. And I was like that too. But I felt like I still got to go back in my head and try to figure out what happened, because something happened for me to, because I don't want anyone to think, oh, he just know a bunch of stuff. No, I just overcame some fear, you know, like, because we're smarter than we think. You got to overcome a lot of fear and start to really think in depth about a lot of things, because I think a lot of that dogma, because you'll see brothers that are in careers that are smart, but then their beliefs are just unchecked. You know what I'm saying? Like you got that MD, but Sunday Baptist type of dude, and it's just a weird thing, but it's true. And you see, people apply themselves on what they love, and with the Most High, they just keep it. They leave it as the raft, and I feel like it's supposed to be a boat, but you know what I'm saying, like something like that. I have my words organized today, but I mean, I really had much. I didn't even think you was gonna put me in here. I was just trying to message you with the names, because you be having some good trolls, but the good trolls have been going away. They haven't been as good as they used to be.
So yeah, I appreciate that, man. Every time you speak, you give some additional insight and clarity to things, and it always edifies me, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? You know, my thing is I like to talk very calmly and to share things. I like to get passionate, because if you talk about things of this nature and this complex, it can get boring if you talk about it a certain way. So you got to be engaging, you got to be animated, you have to engage people a certain way, because otherwise nobody's going to tune in and watch a whole 2 hours of technical jargon on something. So at the end, I try to always simplify things by giving life principles, right? Life application of the things that we're learning, so that way we can yield repeatable results, right? You can apply the scientific method to your faith, quote unquote, right? It works, but people just don't know what that formula is. So the objective is to give people an algorithm to crunch those numbers and do a lot of the heavy lifting for them, so they understand that once I learned this deep knowledge, how do I now process it so that way it could be applicable to my everyday walk, right? And you want to understand it within its proper context. You want to get, like you mentioned earlier, and I agree, you must get into the language. This is why I try to foster literacy in Hebrew and Greek, but you know, for whatever reason, a lot of people don't think that's necessary. Matter of fact, I see you in a couple of Clubhouse rooms I was in, I had a brother tell me that that's not necessary to learn the original language. Yeah. I'm like, that's not necessary. Nah. And then the other brother was debating with, subscribed to the King James Version of the Bible. And then I asked him, have you read the preface? Because he thought it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, bro, they didn't even believe
that.
Yeah,
I was in that conversation. I was in there.
That one was crazy.
Yeah, bro, you got a lot of patience.
Yeah, I know, because you had messaged me. He was like, bro, man, you better than me. It's like, yo, this is nuts. And that brother, yo, that delusion is strong. Go ahead, my brother.
But that's what I'm talking about. I really believe that. I feel like when I found out I was Israel, that was the beginning of me developing a stronger mind. Because I think this is the problem here. The problem is that religion is beneath the math and the other subjects that we're more than willing to criticize, because we don't depend on that to stabilize mood and feel safe and things like that. Where I feel like you can't criticize something that you really believe is necessary for survival. And I feel like because our people, we in a state where we have so little information, we're so frail. And in other words, I feel like it's nothing, progress is not being made if I come at someone like the brother you were talking to on a Clubhouse and start questioning about things like that. Even Ron, you know, you come off, you're very good with how you deal with people, but you still come off crazy to these people because you're talking with such a sturdiness in your voice about something that they're not very sturdy with. And I'm not saying you should change that, but I just don't think engaging people like this is the smartest thing to do, because I mean, I'm sad that I can't even remember how I went through this process, but I realize you're trying to, it's as if people feel like you're taking something from them that's important. They can never become critical about something as long as they see it like that. And my learning of Hebrew and then learning of Greek, you know, I had fun doing all these things. I thought these stuffs were cool, but it wasn't always like that. It was a big mental jump for me to start. And I saw that book in a library. I was 17 years old. I'm 31 now. You know, like I saw that book in a library and I didn't have to pay for it. So that was like a help in the beginning of, you know, thinking outside the box and being able to criticize and all that stuff. But I feel like this is deeper than all this. Like even with what the brother was saying, with him seeing you, because you have a pattern of attracting people that are kind of simple, and your technicality is always going to cause that strife. That's just is what it is. When they see that, they don't associate technicality with the Most High. Exactly. And it's deep, but it's so true. We don't associate the two. And I'm just like in my mind trying to figure out, because I know I was once where he was.
Me too.
And but on the other hand, I was technical with other things. I was always technical with computers.
Yeah.
I just wasn't technical with the Most High in the Bible, and I wasn't willing to. I feel like this is like a neuroscientific type of thing, trying to understand, just like how, you know, some people talk a certain way with the screen in front of them, but not in person. Exactly. And this is like this type of subject where, yeah, it's like a brain thing. And I think this is, I think the solution to because you're disseminating a lot of information, but it can't be received because of this problem that I'm trying to describe, that I can barely describe right now. You see what I'm saying?
There's a barrier there.
Yeah, there's a barrier here. And if that barrier is broken, it's like no matter how much work you're doing, it can't be received because not everyone's not like that. And I would like to have more, I would like to, if with the people that are listening, to have more like talk about this barrier, because I feel like this is major. This is major. You see this in what we're dealing with. You see this with the camps. You see this with a lot of things where there's always this this barrier that is like a safety wall to so many people. And you chipping away at the safety wall, though you bringing in good information, it's always going to be almost received at least with hostility first before they can really take it, because I love the technicality of everything. That's just how I've always been like that. But I know that I had to jump over some type of gate in my mind before I could really take it like that. And I feel more overwhelmed with the information with all this stuff than I do with programming and computers, because I feel like there's a whole lot more stuff to go through when it comes to the scriptures than other technical stuff. Correct. But I'm willing to.
No, go ahead. Yeah, you willing to? Go ahead. Finish.
I look at it as I don't look at it as like a 4-year college thing. This is to me a lifelong journey. But I came to this point. I'm just trying to understand how I went from where I was to where I am now. I think the answer lies there, because, and I think you probably more than likely, like everyone else, we had to go through things to get here. And I think that barrier problem is the biggest problem when it comes to that, because every time I listen to your show, you attract these same patterns of people. You're a graven image or this, you attract the same kinds of people. It never fails. And I'm just like in my mind saying, they interpret you as hostile, but they, in words, they can't express, like you come off as something that irritates them, but no one's going to say, hey, you irritate me. That's not a point. You see what I'm saying? So they try to find a point where there's no point. And then it ends up like this, where they just hang up, because moving the goalposts and all these other tactics eventually is not going to work. But nonetheless, even though you didn't do something wrong, something is wrong. And it's this barrier that's there that's keeping people from getting technical with the Bible.
So I think in future builds, what I'll do, which I've done in certain situations, is I know a lot of times when people are not at that level, I like to always give them references, right? So that way, if they are serious about their study and they do their due diligence to read and take in what it is that's being said, that they have an opportunity to grasp certain things. So that way the dialogue can be enhanced, right? At the same time, some things that are technical will go over people's heads, right? But the issue that I have is if somebody questions your understanding of something, and again, based on their assumptions, right? I think that we have an obligation to demonstrate the technicality of the subject matter, because if a person is going to criticize you or judge you based on the knowledge that they think that you have on something and critique you on it, then you have an obligation to demonstrate that, no, I know enough. So what is your point? Where are we trying to go? Because I felt that conversation was not as edifying as it could be, maybe because the brother was a little bit more simplistic in his approach. But in doing so, you come out with accusations that you cannot authenticate, right? So why start off with accusations? Why start off with assumptions? Like, that's the issue, and why it makes it difficult for bills to be constructive with me, because if you come out with me like that, I can eat that. However, I'm just going to simply say, look, and I told the brother, look, that's what I said to him before we started. I said, my brother, just know that whatever you question and critiquing about me, I'm going to do the same back to you. I just want to make sure that you understand that before we proceed. Like, I gave him the disclaimer before the conversation opened up. I tried to tell him that, but I guess in his mind, it didn't matter, right? So he came on here. He had a contention with the new moon. He said, I watched your video. I kind of understand. I said, what other contentions you have? He started talking about Christ and false prophets and people that come in Christ's name. Started saying a whole bunch of wild stuff in the chat. I said, okay, cool. But what is your point of contention? If it's the new moon, let's discuss it. So we started that conversation. And then from there, I don't even know it shifted over to Barley, I guess because it was a strong suite that he had, because he's a makeshift farmer. He does his own gardening in his home or wherever he lives, or the case may be. So what happens is when people start to fail on a subject matter that they don't have a lot of knowledge about, they try to lean on something that they do have enough knowledge about in hopes that it would give them leverage in the conversation. But then they see it doesn't give them leverage in the conversation, and now they have nowhere to go but to leave, right? And it's like, if that's the case, and you know how we discuss things here on this channel, then why are you even here having a discussion? If you didn't make nothing public, we could talk in private. But if you make it public, then we got to address it publicly. Then after that, we can talk about it privately. So I agree with what you said. Most of the people that's in this chat are people that follow this channel, and they know what to expect, right? That's why they don't come with hot contentions. And there's some people that have done that, and look how much they've grown. They've grown tremendously. These people that's in here, that's been here for years rocking with me, they have grown tremendously. And now they understand, because at first some things would be like, what you talking about? That sounds crazy, A, B, and C. But you know what? They said, look, I may be wrong. Just like I had to be wrong to get to this point. I may be wrong. Let me go back and look to see what this brother's talking about. And then they uncover it and they say, wow, you know what was right there? Yes, I missed that. You know what I'm saying? And then now they come back in here and they anticipate that type of information be disseminated forth. And I say, when I do Freestyle Fridays, it attracts everybody because we're just freestyling. It's really just a constructive build. I talk, I share stuff that people on. This is really not a classroom setting, right? When I do my classes, it's a little bit structured, a little bit more formal, and there's no trolls there. Because trolls are not going to pay money to come to the class to troll you. If they do, I'm okay with that. They just won't have an opportunity to speak, but they can keep spending their money if they want. You know what I'm saying? Just like the trolls won't go to the Patreon. They can at least go to the Patreon. So wait, did he post anything on there in regards to cereal grain sign? Oh, he does. Oh, he made comments about it. Oh, okay, so I guess he does know something about it. So let me not even go there. Let's talk about the point that I actually have a contention with him on. And that's the issue that I have. If you're going to challenge me, I have no problem with that. But if you make assumptions, if you throw accusations, if you talk about things you have not witnessed with your own eyes, and if you come across like you're talking down on me, then you're going to get pushback, because the purpose of that pushback is to get you to understand that maybe this is not the type of discussion you want to have. Maybe you want to go somewhere else and have your discussion. There's no need to come at 1, 2 in the morning. Who does that? Who comes on somebody's channel every Friday at 1 and 2 in the morning? Unless you obviously have nothing else to do, or you're obsessed with me. That you come on here, you troll, and remember the definition of troll he gave? I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So I'm talking about pop culture trolling as it pertains to social media within that semantic range. Whatever he's giving is not what I'm referencing. And that's why I try to explain to him that in the realm of semantics or trying to ascertain meaning, there's a range based on context. Just like when people do the etymological fallacy, where they think that the etymon of a word is how it should be used everywhere, when they don't realize that the context begs the question of the use of an etymon within a particular clause. It does not work that way, right? You have to deal with things in a sense that is sensible to the essence of what the author is conveying to his immediate audience, not what you wanted to say to support your particular position, right? And this is what we have to do in this community, is be very careful. So if the brother said, hey, Divine, can I have a discussion with you about, about crops and harvesting and cereal grain science? I just want to pick your brain, to kind of develop a dialogue. I said, sure, let's talk about it. You say your thing, I say my thing, and we build. I can see if that's what he wanted to do. It didn't seem like he wanted to do that. But if you want to do that, let's talk. Let's teach each other. Let's learn, hey, last week I just grew this variant of barley crops here, and I learned A, B, and C through my experimentation in vivo from the things that I read behind closed doors. I want to know what's your experience of that, if you have any, or if you can defer me to something, or etc. I said, look, I didn't even know it grew in that type of soil. I didn't know nothing about that. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm going to go and look into it and just talk and build for the edification of the audience. But coming on here, acting like you're going to be sensible when you have an ulterior motive, let it out. You have a contention about the moon. Then I have a lot of questions to ask you. He started saying that the word name means one thing, and that means to invoke something. And he says that means the reputation. And I said, in some instances, yes, it does, but not in every instance. Because when you learn Greek grammar, you understand the context of how that thing is being used, especially when it's followed by another noun of a proper name of somebody. Because I know that I'm actually calling for somebody, kara, as opposed to invoking that person. It's two different things. So it cannot have the same sense in every passage. So he also has to slow himself down on that. Then he went into the months, right? Because he says, can you go outside right now, look at the moon, and tell me what day it is? I'm like, you want me to come out, leave outside my house right now and go and just look at the moon and come back in my house and tell you something? I'm definitely not going to do that, number one. That's number one. Number two, if you understood the purpose of me even creating this model, that's what I said. I said, if you lived off the grid and you did not live within the realm of the conveniences of society and you was a homesteader off the grid, I said, this calendar, you can use it in that situation because it's based purely off the environment. It is a relative method of dating time. It is not an absolute method of dating time, which requires a calendar to understand what time of the year it's in, as opposed to empirical observation in the environment in which you live, right? And I said that this model, if you use it with a one-to-one correspondence, I use this term all the time, bijection, is one of my favorite mathematical formulas, bijection. And it has to do with looking at two domains. Now, when we understand domain in the sense of programming, a domain is anything that has content in it, whether it's a directory of information, database, etc., right? Something that's hosted on a domain, right? Domain is something that contains data, right? And if you're doing a domain to domain correspondence, you're looking for elements from one domain to map it against another domain. And if you do that when you do your studies and say, okay, let me parse out all the elements of what the text is talking about, and then after I understand it within its context, let me take each one of those elements and see how it corresponds to things in my contemporary environment. And if I'm able to perfectly align them, now it shows that I understand how to actualize it in my reality and how to yield repeatable results. So the effort of me sharing information, and I tell people all the time, is not to intrude upon your faith. It is to strengthen it. It is to anchor and cement it, because otherwise, I've seen a lot of people who've been questioned from other communities, right? And you've probably seen it just even on Clubhouse or just watching YouTube or just in general. And they turn off their square because they simply cannot withstand the scrutiny. So when we say an academic method, peer review requires scrutiny. You have to subject yourself to scrutiny all the time and be okay with it, because that's a natural part of fostering the engineering of knowledge. You have to criticize and critique things, and you have to allow others to do so. That's why I open my platform for people to come on in and peer review, critique me, question me, voice their grievances. That's a natural part of what you do in the realm of academia. And then we should take that objective approach and apply it to our scripture learning and knowledge, because if you don't do it that way, you will read your biases into the text, your presuppositions in the text, and all types of things that will veer you off the course. So instead of the brother coming on and saying, hey, this is my position, this is what I subscribe to, this is why, and then I'm going to tell you based on my position why I disagree with your position, Divine, and lay it out to me sensibly, logically, then I can get it. And once we get it from there, now there's some form of edification that involves us growing spiritually after that conversation, then we can do it. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with it. But like you said, the barrier is there, the wall is there, because a lot of people fail to push down that wall to create a bridge. They want to continue to live on an island with a moat dug around them and water filled around it. And they never want to let down that drawbridge because they have an issue with trust. And they believe that they let somebody in close and they reveal things about, you know, what they are learning and what they're doing that they feel is intruding upon their personal space, and it removes them of purpose. And they don't want to be without their calling because they believe that the scrutiny of things that you believe as a person is attacking your faith, but it's not. You have to see if your faith can withstand the scrutiny, because otherwise you're operating in fear that something that is said or done is going to expose your way of life. So you downplay it, you overtalk it, you divert, and you do all these types of things. And we're right, we have to get around that, right? So I'm gonna give you another minute or two, my brother, give your final words. I have one more person on the panel. I'm gonna let the Elder Vernon say his thing. Then I'm gonna close out because we're well over the 3 hours that I anticipated being on. So family, I will not be on Clubhouse tonight. It's too late for that now. You know what I'm saying? That post I was gonna do from the previous night's Clubhouse will have to wait until tomorrow after the Shabbat. But again, we will be live again next week. I think tomorrow, which is today, which is Saturday, is the last day of the month. So again, just remember, family, for those who are watching, we do have a giveaway. We're going to give away a free computer, all right, to a student in need. All right. So help us get to our 400 Patreons. Let people know the wealth of knowledge and information that is shared on our Patreon and how they can take years to go through this information to edify and build themselves up. And we want people to know that all the material dollars that we receive, we're reallocating it to things that either ways we can give back, or the production of certain products, goods, services, and programs for the community. So my brother Jordan, you have a couple of minutes. Let's get your final thoughts, and I'm gonna transition to Elder Vernon.
Okay, two things. The first thing is, I think, definitely the conversation etiquette and appearing more so as a friend has worked from my observation as a way to bypass the barrier. But usually this is with someone I already knew, and or have come to know before religion and this becomes a discussion. This usually becomes a way to teach someone a lot of things in a very short amount of time if they perceive you as a friend first, which is why the diplomacy and all that is very important, because you're not going to bring up a giant technical block of knowledge to someone that thinks you're something else. And the second thing is, I think that this entire barrier, the beginning of this is probably because the way religion is not taught to us in such a way that invites criticism. And a lot of times what that creates is this separation in people's minds where people believe that they have the right to their own interpretation. They have the right to basically be subjective. And I said in the comments where religion becomes the biggest thing to use to deny education and to deny correction. And I think because it's taught to us in that way, it develops that type of complex where people are not able to be, they're not able to learn. They're not willing to treat what they have like the way they would treat other subjects. So I think that this is just more than what you're bringing out. This is more than, because you're doing a good job bringing out, but you just can't reach somebody who they feel entitled to that. And like they don't come to learn, because religion doesn't necessarily foster come to learn. It's more like come to listen, come to take this. And once that relationship is established, that authority-based relationship, now you're some non-authority coming up to them trying to, be as the authority to them, and they're more critical towards the non-authorities to them. Because like the brother in the Clubhouse, where he may listen to the person who taught him and be far less critical, more receptive to the ones who taught him, but far more critical towards anybody else, because then it becomes a matter of trust and not a matter of discerning who is saying what. And I'm picking this up as I'm listening and going and going. I'm just trying to figure it out. But I do think that beyond our control, religion is taught in a way that kind of makes people have that barrier and that division between science and religion, where they think science can be complicated, but religion has to be simple and God has to be simple and within the effort that I'm willing to put forth to get there, which is why I say, yo, we got to yield our minds to God and accept how hard this walk really is. And that a lot of information has been kept from us that we'd have been grew up knowing about what you're talking about with the barley and all these things, because we'd have to do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But we don't have to do this stuff. So we have to learn this consciously. But that's all, man. Like the only thing is, it's just for those listening, like keep that in mind. Like there's a giant barrier. Like a lot of folks out there are really smart. And it's a shame that their intelligence, it just doesn't flow into their religious belief. And they don't realize how much that interrupts their walk with the Most High or their fight with sin, and how they don't even approach a lot of times the sins you're struggling with. You don't even approach it because you don't approach religion in a technical way. You don't approach your sins in a technical way. You're not really trying to understand why you're afflicted. Why am I the way I am? You see what I'm saying? So it's just objectivity is not in the right place, you know. But that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I agree. Always words of wisdom, my brother. I'm gonna take heed to the things that you said and recommended, and apply it, and you know, see if it refines the approach and fosters better communication going forward. And the next troll that comes up, I will apply a different methodology and approach, and we'll see how it goes.
You gotta be softer, man. You can't. You just like you're teaching, but you just. It's because it's hard for me to even give you criticism because I don't do what you do. But I'm saying, as someone that thinks I know what I'm talking about, you just can't right away, because a lot of times nothing you say is going to get to them because of how they already perceive you. Mm-hmm. Even because you could weaponize anything. You could weaponize a question. You know how it is. The intent behind the questioning or the statement, a lot of time, that's not somebody that's ready to really receive criticism, corrections. I mean, I don't know, but I would like you to get to the next.
No, you're right. No, you're right. Because, and again, it depends on the person, right? Because on here, we had all types of people come on here, and some of them, everything was great. It worked out well. You know what I'm saying? And then some of them we just have that just does not work out well. So I continuously, you know, go back over my interactions to say, okay, what could I have done differently, right? In that particular situation, in that regard, in order for things to turn out a little bit better. And in that case, my only frustration came, my personal frustration in examining myself came in the fact of the spirit in which the person came in. Because sometimes I have brothers and sisters that come on here that disagree, but the way they approach it, right? They ensure that, okay, they don't treat you like you're the op, right? Because again, if you want to go back and look on, I think it was the last Freestyle Friday, he left comments on there. And just look at the whole host of comments he left it on there. And I responded to him, but he left comments on there. And then Boom Shakalaka was the cheerleader. So she jumped on the comment, you know, the hater train. And she was like, yeah, this and that. Yeah, this. So that wasn't helping at all. Right. And I said to my brother, if you have grievances, I'll see you on the next live stream, because he says, oh, you running away from me. This is what he's saying. You running away from me and you don't want this information. And I said, look, if you have a grievance, when the next time I'm live, just come on the show. I'll let you on. We can talk and we can build. So it's the history behind it and the facade of attempting to be tactful or relatable, because that's not what he was trying to do. He was using it as a means of undermining the fact that I'm willing to be open and I'm willing to listen, in order for him to subjugate the people watching with whatever it is he wanted to teach, which I'm okay with that. If you want to teach something, that's fine. But I'm saying there's certain things that you should just avoid for the sake of the discussion. If we're talking about the new moon, stay on a new moon. There's no need to venture off or divert unless it has something to do directly with the subject matter. And if you want to persist with it and continue to interrogate me, then I'm going to ask you questions back. And that way we can be on the same page to ensure that both people know the subject matter. And then my question is, where do we go from there? I don't know what else he wants to do. So going forward, if he does come back, I'll go ahead and take a different approach with him to see if it works, see if we have results, because I'm sure he'll be back. And we'll go from there, right? So I'll take what you said into consideration, my brother, because you always give great insight, just like anybody else that gives me insight. I don't care if you're 12. I don't care if you're 85. If you have some form of wisdom that I can soak in and it can help me become a better person, then I'm all for it, right? And that's why I subjugate myself publicly to people criticizing, giving feedback or whatever, because it helps me to grow. And the fact that we're talking about it in an open space and public record, then I have to hold myself accountable to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So thank you for your time, my brother. All right. You get you some rest. I mean, you never sleep either. You talking about me. But try and get you some rest. And I will speak to you again soon. All right.
All right. Shalom, shalom.
All right. Shalom. All right. So last, I'm going to let the elder, I'm going to give you a few minutes, elder. Can you hear me, Elder Vernon? You there, elder? Are you there?
Hello?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Something might be wrong on his end.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, I don't know if he heard me. I'm not sure what happened. Okay. Well, you know what, fam? I'm gonna close. Elder Vernon, if you're there, you're welcome to come on to our next live stream, and I'll give you the floor to say what you have to say. It's kind of late now. I'm not sure what happened, but feel free to come on our next live stream. I'll give you an opportunity to chat. And family, thank y'all for rocking out with us for this long. If you're here and you enjoyed the content, hit the thumbs up button. Share this video if you can. All right, hit the thumbs up. Share this video. If you're brand new, hit subscribe. Go back, check out the archives, and you'll see a ton of content. Also, you can support this ministry by going to our Patreon, www.patreon.com/DivineProspect. And on here, we have tons of resources that we continuously aggregate and share on that platform based on the generous donation that we receive from the community. All right. There's also a giveaway, HP laptop giveaway. We want to give to a child in need, to one of our patrons, so that they can distribute it accordingly. And we're trying to reach 400 patrons. So make sure you get the word of our Patreon everywhere on all social media, so more people can sign up. They can get fed and edified along this walk and have the tools and the sources that they need to be a better person in the eyes of the Most High. We want to represent him well. All right. And I thank you, my brother Jonas Kindet, for your words. And I think the elder's back on. Let me see if you can hear me this time before we go. Can you hear me, Vernon?
Hey, Ray. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, good day to you, my brother. I'm a man of the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Hey, look here. I got two questions. I had already asked you these questions before. That was about 7 months ago, back in November. And I'm one of them you was gonna give me an answer back to. One you had answered then, slightly. But I'm throwing back to you real fast because you will remember them because you got good total recall. It was about that first thing. It was about that first phrase in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And another part says in another Bible, God created the heaven and the earth. And your answer to me then was it was error. Am I right?
Yeah, so the word is shemayim in Hebrew, and it is a dual plural. That means it's referring to two things. Heaven is not it's not the correct translation because heaven is a singular noun, and in the Hebrew it's a dual plural noun. So it's not a good translation, right? It's an acceptable one based on your perception of what heaven is. If you said heaven is a collective where it consists of several items but is represented as one entity, then that's probably the philosophy behind why they translate it as heaven. But if you want to be accurate to the actual language, it would be, in the beginning there was two heavens and the earth. There was the two heavens and the earth. That's what really should be said if we want to literally translate it. But other translations just put a plural on it because it's plural in Hebrew, but technically it's a dual plural, like Mitzrayim, that's also a dual plural in Hebrew as well. I am is dual plural.
Okay, so but what I'm saying is this: when when they put it in King James in the in the King James version, it said heaven, and then in the new edition and all that, NIV and all that, is heavens. But okay, but you said it again, it's error. It's not error. It's just how they conformed it, how they said
Correct.
it is, right?
Correct.
I don't understand. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's a matter of perspective. So some people may see heaven as a collective now, meaning it's one entity that consists of many components. And then if somebody else is translating it faithfully, faithfully to the Hebrew language, it's technically it's a plural noun. So we always add the S to a plural noun, and that's why they're translating it that way, to be more representative of the Hebrew as opposed to a perspective, right, on what the heaven is and what it consists of. Yeah.
They just updated it. That's just an update, a correction of a mistake.
I wouldn't say it's a mistake. They just wanted to represent a closer representation of the original language, which is plural. That's why. In the King James, if you study the doctrine or the doctrinal tenets of the Church of England, you'll see that they understand their perception of heaven is a conglomerate. It's one entity that has many components. And that's why they translate it as the word heaven as opposed to heavens with an S.
Yeah, because then it goes with that confusion about God and gods. Heaven and heaven.
Correct. That's the majestic plural. Yep.
That bring in confusion. Hey, but I'm not even going to dwell on that even longer, because I know you ain't got all day with this, and I love you. And look here, my second one, it goes right back to what we was talking about then too, the 144,000, and whom I said that I believe they are. And you said you were looking to it. Do you remember whom it was I said I believe the 144,000 will be?
No. If you can jog my memory.
Okay, listen. I said I believe the 144,000 will be the innocents. And you said you'll look into that. That was
so what I need for you to do for me, Elder, because a million things come up, so I may not remember it, and it's not because I'm purposefully ignoring it or overlooking it
ain't
or
that serious.
not treated it a value.
Brother, this is for, it's not for me. This is for you, brother.
Okay, gotcha. I appreciate that. I'm saying, so if you can find some way,
for your edification, my brother.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, Elder. If you can find some way to maybe email it to me or text that number there on the screen, so I have it as a point of reference, I can always refer back to it. Because if it's verbal or oral, it may take me some time to recall it, to address it. But if it's someplace written or text form or email or something like that, it's easier for me to reference it and respond to it.
Right.
Is that okay?
Well, you can
email or text it to me.
Right. That'd be fine.
Okay,
that'd
cool.
be good. But like I
Sounds
said, you
good.
can always go back to your reference as far as your mind. You understand? And what you know about the functions of the 144,000, what their function will be. You understand me? So that knowledge of. See, it'd be difficult for me to do it because I'm already knowing that. What's
correct
happening with that? So therefore, it's like if you're not aware of it, then you might want to check into that.
Definitely, and I agree.
Like I said, for your edification.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, like I said, email it to me if you can, and I'll have it as a point of reference to go and look into, and then I'll give you a response based on what I gather from it, and I'll send it back to you.
Okay.
But please email me, Elder. Like please email it.
And how's the family?
Oh, we're doing good. I don't really have no complaints. Good. Internally, everything's doing well. Kids are doing well. Me and my Isha are doing well. Extended family, they're working with them the best we can, especially the ones that I have out here. But for the most part, we're maintaining. I have no complaints. I'm grateful that Yah has me in a position that He has me in, that I don't have really no lack. And that I'm able to take care of those around me, and not just my family, but others outside of my family that may have a need. So whenever I'm in a position like that, it's always a good thing. When I'm not in a position like that, then it's kind of worrisome to me, but I'm good now. I appreciate it. Hello? Not sure what happened. All right, Elder, I can't hear you no more if you are talking. So I'm going to close out the show. But thank you for coming on and sharing that with me. Like I said, if you're hearing this, please email me so that way I don't forget it and I can respond back to it when I'm able to after I look into it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to close it out now. Shout out to Willie Littlejohn in the building, ELOC 2020, Yahaya Dawidi, Shalom. The people of the book says, are you interested in reading Garfield's book? Yes, I am interested in reading his book. I did not read all of it yet. So until I finish it, I'm not going to comment on it prematurely. I'm gonna wait till I complete reading it and then I'll give my commentary on that. All right. Thank you, my brother Fear God. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Danielle Williams, I agree as well. I don't have no disagreement with that, but I think we may have to kind of flesh it out a little bit more, right? Sign of the Time CV HQ, Shalom. Thank you for being here with us. Matiyahu Ben Yisrael, Shalom. So I want to say Leila Tov to the family out there. Thank you for coming on and sharing. I want to say shout out to my brother, Laws of Gardening. Thank you for coming on and spending your time here as well. I'm sure your time is valuable. We may have cut off to a rough start, but my brother, you're welcome to come on the platform again and build with me. We can talk as brothers and we can deal. You know, you said you wanted to deal man to man. I mean, you know, that's really interesting. I guess that's really set the mood for me. But if we deal brother to brother, I think that we can get much further, right? We can actually walk together, right? And that's a path that I'm willing to do with you, my brother, that if you take me 1 mile, I'll take you 2. I have no problem with that. But we must come together and agree that we're brothers and treat each other like brothers. Man to man means it could just be anybody. Brother to brother is a little bit more sentimental, all right? So with that, family, I love y'all. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Again, if you want to support the ministry, all the information below. If anybody has a need and we can help you, please email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Just know that it may take some time for us to get to your email because we get tons of email every day. So the best thing to do, if we do not respond to your email within a week or 2, call that number there, schedule an appointment, and therefore it'll be much easier for you to get access and for us to respond to whatever inquiry you have. Okay. So love you, family. Thank you for watching. Shout out to my brother, your host, Seth. Ben Yisrael in the building, fly out the realm. Shalom, shalom. Thank you for being here, man. I love y'all. These are my day ones, man. You know what I'm saying? These are my ride or dies. You know what I'm saying? So I love you, family. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again. And remember, I'm going to put that book on cereal grain nutrition in that encyclopedia and those articles. I'm going to put that up on the Patreon so you guys can read and further understand the dialogue that me and the brother had to kind of ascertain for yourself what was factual and what was outside the realm of fact. All right. You'll be able to judge it for yourself. And if you see that your brother Divine is wrong, feel free on the next live stream, come on and correct me. I'm okay with that. Right. Doesn't nullify anything that I know. It just means that I had error in that area and I have room for growth. All right. So I appreciate that. All right. So love you, family. Thank you for watching. Peace. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.